Mute.
America Rising Media. Live from Washington, D.C., Spin City is on the ground at the National Mall, broadcasting the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Join us July 3rd and July 4th for fireworks, freedom, and the greatest celebration this nation has ever seen. 250 years of liberty. Don't miss a single moment. America Rising Media. Live coverage of America's birthday.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. We have Kraut Mick and Real Talk Politics on a live debate. Is voter ID legislation needed in 2026? Mr. Kraut Mick is against it, and Real Talk Politics is the affirmative. Mr. Kraut Mick,
I believe you reversed those, Spin.
Oh, yeah, probably. Whatever. Mr. Kraut Mick, you are going first, sir. Your opening statements, please.
Yes, how is everybody doing? Yeah, I am for the affirmative on voter ID. More specifically, I do hope the American Saved Act gets passed through the Senate. It already got passed to the House. And, hopefully me and Real Talk comes to some type of understanding. And I did a deep dive today to actually prepare for this compared to my first 1v1 debate where I had about 10 minutes to prepare. But I really don't like giving open statements out because without actually arguing my point, I don't know how to do that. So I yield my time.
All righty, Kraut Mick, thank you very much. Real Talk Politics, good evening, sir. Your opening statement.
You're not coming in, Real Talk.
Oh,
You're muted on the StreamYard.
Yeah, my bad. I was muted. But yeah, I hold the position of voter ID legislation, specifically the SAVE Act, is not needed. This is a act of ego from the president because he was butthurt over the 2020 election, and he's claiming voter fraud on a massive scale when there's no proof of that anywhere in America. So yeah, that's the position that I hold. This current SAVE Act is not only a distraction, but he's holding up actual housing legislation as we speak over the SAVE Act, which is asinine. It doesn't even provide any extra funding to the voting polls to provide extra people to work at the polls. So the states have to penny up that. So yeah, that's the position that I hold, and I surrender the rest of my time.
All righty, gentlemen, the floor is open. You can have your arguments. Please, again, just a reminder of TOS, and do not talk over each other. The floor is yours.
Real quick, so I'll just come in agreement with what Talk just said. I do remember reading briefly that he is trying to, I wouldn't say he's holding the housing, but he is trying to put the SAFE Act in the same bill as what as the housing, what Real Talk just stated. So I will agree on that. That said, I believe it's hard to get accurate numbers when it comes to non-citizens voting. I mean, depending on where you get it from, you can have no non-citizens voted, or some non-citizens registered but they didn't vote, or some non-citizens voted. It's very hard to get accurate numbers when it comes to those three details. But my position is I'm for the SAVE Act because it cannot affect American citizens in a negative way. It might make it a bit annoying to get the proper paperwork, but we all deal with the DMV. We all know how that goes, and we all want a license to drive. So why not make it just a little bit more difficult for non-citizens to be able to?
But am I good to go?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So my rebuttal to that is, you said that it would be a little bit more annoying. I challenge that talking point, specifically because of the fact that we're not just asking for American voters to provide voter IDs or driver IDs or government issued IDs. We're asking for Americans to provide their birth certificates and or their passports, which can cost up to $50 for some Americans. That is essentially a poll tax, if you want to call it that, for a lot of Americans having to pay to get access to vote in this country, which is supposed to be a one of those top rights in the Bill of Rights that we talk about all the time, that we want to protect at any cost, such as the Second Amendment with guns, right? I mean, I'm sorry if I can't say that here, but you know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah, that's all I want to say about that, is that it's not just annoying, it's taking money out of the pockets of actual Americans, and it also is a distraction from actual legislation that can actually help Americans, such as the housing bill that could have passed. It passed through the House, it passed through the Senate, Republicans and Democrats passed it through Congress, and all Donald Trump had to do was sign it. But then he wanted to cry because his SAVE Act wasn't passed yet.
Now, do you feel the SAVE Act will only affect Democrats, or do you feel like it can affect the right as well, if they like don't have their birth certificate or anything like that?
I feel like it would affect both parties. Anybody that's not able to pay $50 to get a birth certificate or a passport. Anybody, I mean, we have to be real here. Both Democrats and Republicans tend to be the poorest of America. I'm from Mississippi. I have no problem saying that here. And a lot of Mississippians around here are the poorest of the poor, Republican and Democrat. And I know some people that can't come up with $20 right now if they wanted to.
Well, see, I don't, and we'll get into the 24th Amendment. I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I find it real interesting, the 24th, the 19th, and the 26th Amendment, and the 14th. I find all four of those interesting. But I'll just say this, back before I had any papers, I had no job. The only thing I had to go off of to get all my papers was my mother's maiden name. And I was able to come up with the money to get my birth certificate, to get my social security card, and to get my photo ID. So, I mean, again, it can be annoying, but it's not specifically hindering American citizens from getting all that. If you can't scrounge up anywhere from $20 to $80, like you're kind of doing something wrong there.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
I'm done with that point.
So essentially, you're saying if you can't scrounge up $20 to $80, you should lose your right to vote.
Well, I'm not saying
I have no problem. Well, my essentially what I'm trying to say here is that if the government wants to make it that they want to provide some type of ID for all Americans to go and vote, just a special voter card that's only made for voting, I'm fine with it, but make it free to everybody.
Right. Well, so this is the thing. So, you know, I doubt all Democrats or all poor people don't have all the proper paperwork. I'm sure there's some out there on both aisles of the fields that already has all that information. Now, I'll briefly touch on the 20. Well, first I want to ask you, do you think it's in the Bill of Rights that we have a right to vote?
Do I think it's in our Constitution? For sure. I would have to.
So it's actually not.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
I know it's in the Constitution for sure, though.
No, it's not. So what's in the Constitution? I spent like 2 or 3 hours looking all this up today so I can be prepared. And the only valid argument the opposing team could have is the 24th Amendment. And I believe that's what we've really got to talk about. But there's no actual right in the Constitution to vote. We have things in the constitutions that are supposed to help us with the government not restricting. The 14th, you know, I know we all know what the 14th is. The 19th, I'm sure we're familiar with that, with women voting. The 24th, which isn't supposed to put a poll tax, and the 26th, which made it where 18-year-olds can vote instead of 21. Those are the four things in the Constitution that is supposed to limit the government interference with us voting. But as far as a constitutional right, there actually isn't one. And you can look that up yourself. Again, I just gave you the four restrictions that we have for the government not to interfere, but it's actually not in our constitutional right.
And I'm going to call you out for that. That's a bad faith argument because, yes, the Constitution doesn't explicitly give you the right to vote, but it sets clear guardrails for it excluding the right to vote. If you get what I'm saying, there are several different cases. There are several different amendments all throughout the Constitution and all throughout precedent in our Supreme Court and the way this country currently runs to this day, saying that you better provide extraordinary proof if you want to exclude people from voting or if you want to make it harder to vote in this country.
Now, I'll say this, like, yeah, we should absolutely be able to vote, and the government basically says we have a right as a society, as a collective of America, but we just have those four safeguards to protect our votes, not necessarily the Constitution saying we can vote. Now, I do want to dive into the 24th Amendment, the poll tax, because I believe that's the strongest argument the opposition can provide. And again, I'm definitely willing to argue my standpoint on that. If you want to go ahead and state your actual objections to that.
I also agree that the poll tax is a very hard point for the SAVE Act to get around if it's challenged constitutionally in court. But specifically, I want to get to the core of why are we pushing for voter ID in a country that's suffering from economic issues. People are paying more for several different things. People are suffering in several different ways. So why are we pushing for voter ID laws right now?
Well, again, it's because we want to make it's almost like safeguards, like firewalls to a computer. If you got two firewalls to make sure you don't get a virus, you're hunky dory. But if you can get a couple more in there to absolutely make sure your computer isn't affected, you'll do that. Now, the 24th, the poll tax, I was reading about that today too. It's to pay for birth certificate, passport, and there was a couple other things on there I read about. I forget. I might bring it up. I don't feel like digging through my computer, but the two main things are birth certificates and passports. And that's not necessarily a tax, because tax is something that pays the government to help them run. And I guess in a way, a birth certificate does that, but not like a straight tax. It's not property tax. It's not registration tax to help clear the roads. Like, you literally pay for that if you lose it. It has, like, I don't believe it would go against the 24th Amendment.
It's not. It doesn't have to be. If you have to pay something in this country to vote.
Well, you don't. No, you don't have to pay to vote. You don't. So there's a clear distinction. So if you already have all that paperwork, you don't have to pay nothing to vote. And we both agree there's probably Democrats.
What about the people that don't? This is a. I'm sorry, but we're talking about voting here. We're not talking about the haves and the have-nots. Okay. So we're.
Do you need a photo ID to vote?
Huh?
Would you agree we need a photo ID to vote?
Name one state in this union that doesn't already have doesn't have state ID laws that you have.
Well, I think actually 49 out of 50 states have photo ID. I think there's one state that actually doesn't require it. But would you agree photo ID is necessary to vote? Would you agree with that?
Yes, that's according to the prompt why I think it's unnecessary, because voter ID is already
now
set.
What about people that don't have photo IDs? Are we limited their ability to vote?
No, because you can register to vote using your social security number. You can register to vote without any type of photo ID in most states, as long as you can provide other ways of proving that you're a United States citizen. They can check your check your signature and your actual address and your social security number.
Right. But again, if you couldn't get a photo ID, and again, 49, I believe 49 out of 50 does require a photo ID. If you couldn't get a photo ID, technically you wouldn't be able to vote, right?
That's not necessarily true.
You can when you go up to the polls.
That's not necessarily true. If that's why I'm telling you is that a voter's ID is just only one way that you can be added to a voter's roll, or one way that you can actually vote in most states. But you can actually be added to a voter's roll. There's different steps of this registration process.
All right. So I'll ask a different question, but in the same light. Would you say at some point or another, every American citizens will have to fork out money for a type of document to make it where they can vote?
Not necessarily.
Well, no, they'll have to. I mean, you need your social security number that you have to pay for to get a birth certificate, or I think I got that the other way around. I forget which one. You need one or the other to get the other one, and then you need one of those plus something that has your name on the mail to get your photo ID, and your photo ID costs money. Yes. And then you use that to polls. Now, if they sit here and try to tell us, hey, when you go up to the polls, you got to pay $20 to put your vote in, that's absolutely going against the 24th Amendment. But what they're asking,
is something that we already have.
Yeah, we would do that without the SAVE Act. We would want to have or buy again if we lost any of those papers. Like they don't align with each other. You know what I mean?
Do you understand the difference between laws that we already have and this current SAVE Act?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So,
and what I'm saying Act, is, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so again, all the documents the SAVE Act are asking us to have or repurchase or purchase if it's our first time, we would probably get those without the SAVE Act. So to act like that goes against the 24th Amendment, I mean, I believe that was a strong argument before I started reading more up on it, and then I realized it's not like they're asking us to get a document that we never needed before in our lives, and we need that specific document that costs $50 or $100 to be able to vote. Then, yeah, I would say that's a poll tax that goes against the 24th Amendment. But it's just asking for paperwork that we could have or should have in the first place, whether that's birth, passport, or that other thing I read about. I wish I could remember the name, but I never heard about it before today.
Do you understand that since photo ID is this SAVE Act is not doing anything else but making photo ID no longer good enough, you have to provide that birth certificate and you have to provide either a passport. Can we agree on that?
Kind of. So again, that's why I use the example as a computer. It's just putting a couple more firewalls in place to make sure no non-citizens get. And now you're right. I think you said something about the photo ID isn't good enough. So in order to register now, if it gets passed, you got to show either a passport or birth certificate that with a photo ID, I believe, if I read that properly, which but again, it's all
just having that photo ID is no longer good enough. I just want to make that clear.
Well, not to do the actual registration, but to actually go and vote, your photo ID at that point will be good enough. It's just this extra firewall.
I'm talking about for somebody that's not registered. If this SAVE Act were to pass, them having a government issued photo ID would no longer be good enough. They would have to have that birth certificate and that passport, right?
And I agree with that.
Okay.
And again, that's
And that-
documents you would have even without
and
the SAVE Act.
That's the change that a lot of people, including a lot of poll workers, are having with this act, because it's not even providing extra funding to these state polls. They're
That
asking
should
for
make you
extra.
happy, because that would show right there that it's not a way to apply tax to people. Right there, you kind of defeated the 24th Amendment, I believe. If they're not getting any extra funding or money from all these documents, we gotta
understand
pick up.
that poll workers are already underworked already, and adding this extra process,
A lot of us are
also
underworked, man. We live in America.
do you understand that the president is complaining about the fact that elections are already taking too long, and using that as a fact to prove that elections are fraudulent? But now you're saying it's okay, or that we should blow off the fact that our poll workers are underworked, and when we hire new poll workers, they're usually underpaid. But now you want to add more processes on top of that with that SAVE Act and not pay these people.
Well, it's not like every single American. It's annoying. I won't disagree with you that it's going to be annoying, but I'd rather a little more annoyance to put the extra safeguards. And I don't agree. Well, actually, I'm not a fucking politician, but I can tell you a lot of bills or a lot of bills are put into like one package. And that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to get like one specific bill passed. Like you mentioned, he's putting the SAVE Act in the same bill as the housing. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but there's a lot of shit that I don't know about that bill in general. Again, I'm not a politician. I don't agree with that, but that's why the government has to work together.
I have seen no news of Donald Trump attempting to add the House Act to the SAVE Act,
or the housing thing you mentioned.
Yeah, the housing bill to the SAVE Act. I've seen no news of him trying to combine the two, and I doubt that he's making a serious attempt to do that, because there's no.
I thought you said he was one of those two.
There was nothing stopping him from doing that previous to now, or attempting to do so, or calling or saying on Twitter, as he does everything else, that he's doing that. But he has no plan of doing that. Let's be honest here.
Well, would you I don't really want to bog down on Trump, because it's about voter ID, but would you agree if the Senate didn't give him so much fucking bullshit, he could actually pass a lot more things that he promised without being bogged down from all this political shit that the left doesn't want? Like, I think we can all agree, like, we don't want non-Americans to vote. You agree with that? I agree with that. We just agree with the way.
What party controls the Senate right now?
I believe the Democrats, don't they? And Republicans control the House.
No, Republicans control the Senate. The Republicans control the House. You have the trifecta, my guy, and the Supreme Court. There's no excuse for you guys to be fumbling legislation like this.
Oh, well, then they need to get their fucking shit together. But
it's all on the president. You should be telling the president to get his shit together. Yeah,
well, the government in general needs to get their shit together. Like they all need to get their shit together. But that's my fault, and I'm pretty sure I knew about that before. I just forgot about it. I know we control the Supremes. I know we control the House. I guess I forgot that we control the Senate.
But yeah, as far as taking it back onto this voter ID situation, like I said in my initial statement, I personally believe that this entire situation is nothing but a distraction and a personal ego trip for our president, because he's still butthurt about the 2020 election. And I will stand on that. And I challenge you to provide me any credible evidence that there is any type of fraudulent voting on a massive scale in this country in our federal elections.
Well, so let me ask you real quick question, and then I'll answer yours. If you didn't feel Trump is doing this as a distraction, would you agree with the SAVE Act? Or you just disagree because you feel like he's using this as a distraction?
I feel like it's a nonsense bill that doesn't really accomplish anything.
Okay. Now I'll answer the question you provided me. Do I believe there's mass scale voter fraud? No. But Now, I don't think ever in history one single vote counted and changed the election, but it is absolutely possible. And if we don't have these safeguards, like what's to stopping a non-American immigrant from getting a fake photo ID, which they're actually pretty easy to come by, and going up to the polls and voting for a president or whatever that promised them, free health care, free this, free that, free everything for you guys, while the middle class works and their taxes get higher and higher. It's not
You said,
mass voter fraud. Huh?
You said what's stopping them? Something that's usually stopping a lot of people in this country is called laws. We have very strict laws that goes against illegal immigrants voting in federal elections, and you get plenty of years for doing so and fined on top of that.
Do we have illegal immigrants in the country?
Yes.
Do we have people that takes some I don't think this is COS, takes somebody's unalived people and robs people and commits heinous acts in this country? Do laws stop people from doing that, or do laws punish people once they do that?
Both.
I'll agree with you there. Yeah, there's some people out there that are immoral and they just don't act on it because of laws. But we agree that laws punish people for doing that. So nothing is technically stopping the non-American citizens from obtaining a photo ID that, again, it's pretty easy to come by if you know the right people, and casting in their vote to a politician that promises to rub their back and set them up with housing and everything else.
Easy is relative, depending on who you're talking to. And what I'm saying is that that especially when it comes to federal elections, there has been instances of even illegal immigrants voting or attempting to vote. But I will say that they've been caught. There's not one instance where there's been like some type of secret cabal or some secret group of illegal immigrants going to some type of poll and stashing and stuffing mailboxes with votes and stuff like that. This president has stated that over and over again, that there are poll stuffers, that they're sneaking mail-in votes in the middle of the night. He's the most powerful man on the planet. Why isn't he able to provide any type of credible proof to any of that?
Well, so you said there has been non-citizens attempted to vote and they got locked up, and I guess that can be proof. We'll, for the sake of the argument, we'll assume where you read that at is accurate, so that's proof that they attempted and got arrested for it, right? Now, what about the people, the non-American citizens they didn't catch and actually were able to vote? It's hard to get proof for somebody that got away with a crime, right?
Where do you think most illegal immigrants reside in this country?
If I had to take a guess, I would say Florida, New York, California, just to name a couple.
Come on, you're missing a few big ones.
Maybe PA, but I'm not too sure about that. There's not. I live right next to PA, and there's not too many non-citizens.
You're ignoring Texas, New Mexico, Arizona.
Oh, I'm on the East Coast, bro. I don't know nothing about Texas, but do they have a lot of non-Americans there?
Everybody's talking about the Mexico border, bro. All I'm saying is that if there was illegal immigrants voting on a large scale and we're missing them, it would be on those traditional red states in places like Texas, in places like Arizona, in places like New Mexico. And I might give you California that somehow on purpose skipped over illegal immigrant votes.
And Florida. I lived in Florida for 6 years. There's a lot of
Florida is an extremely red state, and I doubt that they're allowing illegal immigrants or allowing them to, or looking the other way, in those types of situations. And these are red states going back decades at this point. So I don't think this is something. And I think from the Heritage Foundation, they found that there was like 35 instances of fraudulent voting out of millions. Like,
yeah,
this is not a large problem to be stopping a housing bill over. Why is our president crying over it? You still haven't answered my question.
Well, so I couldn't tell you, and I did say I didn't agree with that, but at the same point, a lot of different bills get summed up into one vote. That's one of the reasons why people complain. Was it like 4 years ago when Trump had that deal to pull the soldiers out? I haven't read about this in years, but it was tucked in other bills, and it was kind of like a bill. Yeah, bills get tucked into one paper, several bills at once, and that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to pass them, because they might like this bill in the paper, but they don't like that bill in the paper. And I think that's stupid. I think that's something we definitely got to change about our government. But all in all, I believe Trump is actually doing this to put safeguards to stop non-Americans. And again, like it's very hard to get accurate information. I think in my opening statement, or after we started talking in general, that I said there's different sources claiming that non-citizens register but don't vote, or non-citizens vote but they get caught, or non-citizens, small percentage of non-citizens vote and they never get caught. It's very hard to get accurate information on those three categories alone. And as far as Texas, where they haven't found a worldwide fraud, I don't know about you, but if I commit a crime, I'm not hanging out next door. Like if those non-citizens are all in Texas, like I wouldn't be them so close to the border and doing dumb shit, like, because then it's a swift kick in the ass, right back to fucking Mexico. That's why they go all over the place. I really don't have anything for Texas. That's the best argument I have for Texas. But again, it's very hard. Like if somebody commits a crime and nobody finds out about that crime, how are you going to prove that crime actually happened or didn't happen?
Because they still cast a vote.
I'm sorry?
Because they still cast a vote. You said, okay, it's easy for them to get a fake ID. Are they getting a fake social also? Because that has to match up, right?
I actually anecdotal right here, and I'll make it quick. I worked at ShopRite back in 2010, and I literally got promoted because the guy that had the position before I got promoted, it was found out that he had a Social Security card that belonged to a dead person. So that absolutely does happen.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that these things have to match up with our voter rolls. What you're telling me is that somebody an illegal immigrant is not only threatening their residency over here in America, which they work so hard to get just to cast a vote.
They don't really work hard to get. They hop the border illegally. I would have to strongly disagree with you with that.
Well, most illegal immigrants are green card overstays. Let's make that clear, right?
Okay.
All right. So what I'm saying is that these illegal immigrants are risking their residency to cast a vote in the election that they might not even really care. Do you understand? Half of the fraudulent votes in 2020 were found to be for Trump. It was a very small number.
I didn't hear about that.
Yes, it was a whole poll worker that got charged with real charges for attempting to rig the vote for Trump.
Now, you said you believe they're not going to risk their visas by doing something illegal like that. Now, you mentioned we both mentioned
not something like voting. You don't make money from voting.
Right. No, I got you. Now, we both mentioned that non-citizens have been busted for registering to vote. Now, yes. Are they non-citizens like illegals, or are those some people had visas and they got busted trying to register to vote?
I think in some cases it was people with visas that didn't really understand our voting laws, and I think it was a few of those were actual illegal immigrants. Like they were, I think they were green card overstays, and they didn't show up in court. They had a court hearing, they didn't show up in court, so they were like, if I remember right, a few of them were actually illegals.
So whether or not it's through active ignorance or knowing they're committing a crime, there is Americans and visa holders that absolutely do try to register to vote, whether or not they know it's a crime or not.
Yes, but do they ever make it to actually voting? Is my question. I mean, majority of the time. They're usually caught through the registration process, right?
Yes, the people that are caught. But what I want to stick to here is you made a claim that visa holders will not attempt to register or attempt to vote because they don't want to lose their place in America.
Well, I didn't say visa holders specifically. I'm just saying typical illegal immigrant that knows that they're a fugitive, that tries to shy away from usual government things. You're telling me they're going to risk all of what they've done so far to try and register to vote, which they're getting no immediate benefit from.
We just agreed they do, whether they're non-Americans or visa holders.
These are people with visas and a couple of people that just attempted to. No, my God, like this is not something that you would see from a typical criminal in our country. Criminals are looking for immediate benefits. That's why they're criminals.
Well, hold on. One more time. I'll ask you one more time to clarify. Like, we both agreed non-Americans and people with visas have tried to register to vote, and they got busted, and they got locked up or they got sent over. Whatever would have happened to them isn't the point of the argument. But they tried to register.
Yeah.
So you saying that they wouldn't risk getting kicked out of America by registering or attempting to vote is invalid because we already agreed they do that anyway. You can't have your cake and eat it too, bro.
What number do you have for the amount of people that tried to do that?
Well, I don't have a number. I didn't want to bring up numbers because it gets very iffy with those two things. But hold on, we both agreed it happens. So, like, numbers isn't an issue.
Let's say I doubt it's a larger number than 30.
So hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. It's not the number specifically that I'm arguing. I'm arguing your claim. No. I'm arguing your claim that they wouldn't risk it. But we both agreed people got locked up for trying to register, so they absolutely do risk it by doing that dumb shit. We can agree on that they do risk it.
Well, not people with visas. They're here working. These are students that come over here and go to college and stuff like that, and they might not fully understand that they can't vote in federal elections. They might have voted in their state election. They might have voted in their city election, which is fine, but they didn't understand that they actually voted in a federal election. You get what I'm saying now? Because you have to understand the complete context of the situation of voting, because a lot of times when people go into polls, it's usually not just for president, it's for mayor, it's for city councilmen, it's for congressmen and senators. So these situations consider different voting restrictions. Illegals, visa holders, anybody that's not an American citizen can't vote in federal elections, but they can, depending on the state, they can vote in lower elections. So that's why they would even be in the vicinity and maybe mistakenly pick up the wrong ballot.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. But again, I mean, it's up to Boulder and Spin if they want to do an open panel. I just got one last question, and forgive me if I asked this already. If you didn't feel Trump was used, no, you already said you still wouldn't support it because you think it's unnecessary, right? Even if Trump wasn't using it as a distraction, you still wouldn't support it?
No, because it doesn't do anything. As far as I'm aware, most states already have voter ID laws in place. I think if you really care about voting and securing voting in this country, you will send funding to where it's needed to make sure that these places are able to hire people that actually want to come in to work and do their job.
I would agree with that. I don't know if you have any questions for me. We're almost at the hour mark now, so I mean, you did really good, man. You made some strong talking points. Hopefully I counted them pretty good, but I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
open the panel, we can ask Boulder or Spin if they're okay
Well,
with
you
that.
guys, Kraut, you can give your if you guys are done, you can give your closing statement. You had first word, so Real Talk gets last word. So you can throw down your closing statement, and then we will open up for Q&A. I have dropped the link in the chat. Anybody that wants to start filing into the back.
Okay. All right. My closing statement. I'll make this quick. Real Talk brought some compelling things. A couple which I got to read more up about. But at the end of the day, he didn't convince me that it'll ultimately stop Americans from voting. It might make it a little more annoying. But as far as safeguards go, I'm not going to say it would be necessary, but I'm comfortable with it. And I feel like I did a lot of good talking points. We'll get the panel up. I'm sure we got oppositions from both sides that'll wring our necks out. But I yield my time. Real Talk, it's been nice talking to you, bro. For real, I'm glad you entered the Discord.
Yeah, nice talking to you too. Yeah, I guess I'm.
All right, Real Talks. Your final statement or your closing statement, sir, please.
Oh yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I still believe that this SAVE Act and any additional voter legislation coming out of this Trump administration is a joke. It doesn't really do anything, and it'll immediately be challenged in courts anyway. And I think it's a waste of time, and I think it's a deflection from what really needs to be done in this country. And I just don't believe in any type of. I believe in voter ID laws, but if you're not going to foot the bill for providing those free IDs to everybody to make sure that they have that every actual citizen gets access to that, then I don't care about what you have to say about that bill.
All righty, gentlemen, the StreamYard link has been dropped. We do have a couple people in the back. We, of course, have Mr. Balderson in the back. We are going to go ahead and play a video. Are you guys ready to meet your panel?
Bring it on.
Yeah.
For years, Spin City News has been committed to delivering straightforward news coverage, live events, public hearings, press conferences, and stories that often receive little attention from mainstream media outlets. Our mission has always been simple: put cameras where history is happening and allow viewers to see events for themselves. Today, we have an opportunity to take that mission to the next level. Spin City News, in cooperation with America Rising Media, is working to establish a stronger on-the-ground presence in Washington, D.C. The nation's capital is where many of the decisions affecting every American are made. Congressional hearings, White House events, federal agency announcements, court proceedings, policy debates, protests, and public demonstrations all happen in Washington every day. Yet many independent media organizations lack the resources to cover these events live and in person. We believe Americans deserve direct access to these important events without filters, spin, or selective editing. Your support will help us send reporters, camera operators, and live stream equipment to Washington, D.C., allowing us to provide real-time coverage of the stories that matter most. Funding will be used for travel expenses, lodging, transportation, media credentials, professional broadcasting equipment, internet connectivity for live streaming, and operational costs necessary to maintain consistent coverage. Unlike large corporate media organizations with extensive budgets, independent journalism relies on the support of viewers who value transparency and open access to information. Every contribution, regardless of size, helps us place cameras in the rooms where important conversations are taking place. With your help, Spin City News and America Rising Media can expand independent reporting, increase government transparency, and provide viewers with unfiltered access to events happening at the highest levels of government. This is more than a fundraising campaign. It is an investment in citizen-focused journalism and the principle that informed citizens are essential to a healthy republic. If you believe in independent media, government transparency, and direct access to the news, we ask you to join us in this effort. Together, we can bring Washington to the people. Thank you for supporting Spin City News and America Rising Media. Every donation makes a difference. As the owner of Spin City News, it is very costly to do things like this, so your support will be greatly appreciated and welcomed.
Alrighty, sorry for that. That was a little longer than what I thought it was going to be. I apologize for that, gentlemen. We have Nova Star. We have Hard Talk Toasty. We have For the Win, and of course, our resident constitutionalist, Mr. Clay. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We will go to the Q&A part of this. We are going to start from right to left. Miss No or Hard Talk Toasty, your questions for the panelist, sir.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask Real Talk Politics. What exactly about the Save America Act do you find to be totally useless?
The requirements to and the talking point that kind of comes with it. To say that you want voter ID laws implies that you want some type of ID that goes along with voting. That act implies that government issue ID is no longer good enough. So it's also not providing any extra funding to our poll workers, which is one of my bigger issues with the bill itself. So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead and pass it on, Spin. You're muted, Rookie. Rookie, you're muted.
Mr. Clay, your questions to the panelists. I know I'm being a rookie right this second. Oh my God. Mr.
Stop
Clay.
such a dumb fuck, and I won't have to call you a rookie, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Ben and Spin, for hosting this debate. Certainly, voter ID is always a good topic to talk about, and thank you, Kraut and Real Talk as well, for coming up to have the debate. My concern here is going to be hinging on the Fourth Amendment. Okay, collection of data. Now we see it all over the place. People are talking about data centers. This is also a thing. Other forms of data collection have taken place in the past. You've got the national database for the DMV. You've also got within the criminal code the storage of data there. The Terry stop is a big issue in this country, because as soon as you get stopped, guess what? Your data gets stored into the system. The police are supposed to use it in certain ways, but quite often they abuse that authority and use it in improper ways. The same thing with the national database, with the DMV, and all sorts of other data issues when it comes to privacy and the right to be secure in your person's papers and effects. Short of a warrant, your rights are supposed to be upheld and defended by those in these positions of power. So my question for you, Kraut, is with a voter ID established and no tax to essentially create systems of security for the people, because even though, yes, it is possible for the states to be able to take your vote and put it into a secure place, the stored data of who voted is not stored in the same place. It's actually separated. So how is the SAVE Act going to be able to store data in a secure place without some sort of monetization, some sort of taxing? Because the way that I see it, one, that's just really not possible. I mean, you see how much tax is necessary for the storage of data just for the DMV alone. But then also, privacy is a big issue. It's a tradition here in the United States that we should be able to be secure in our person's papers and effects. And a lot of people see a lot of problems with certain storage of data as is already. So that's my question. Essentially, how is the Fourth Amendment protected? How are people's persons, papers, and effects protected when they go to the polls? Not necessarily when they go to register, but when they actually go to the polls.
Real quick, what is the Fourth Amendment? Not too familiar with that one.
Yeah, so that would be the right of the people to be secure in their persons, papers, and effects. Essentially, your person, right? Nobody can touch you, even the cops, unless there's a crime being committed. And this would be, with a warrant. Essentially, a warrant would need to be issued. Now, the Terry stop has lowered the standard to RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion. But to put that aside, also your papers, and the same thing applies there. And then your effects. So even your camera, your car technically is supposed to be an extension of you. The idea of you and your persons being secure. The Fourth Amendment is for that, and then the Third Amendment is actually for your home.
Right. Well, okay. I think I remember what the Fourth Amendment was. I just forgot it was the Fourth. Are you arguing the SAVE Act will make it where the government knows everything about us, essentially?
Well, not everything, but essentially the voting. So your vote is supposed to be a secure thing. It's actually a tradition for it to be a very anonymity.
Yeah, back in the day, nobody
thing.
told other people what they voted for.
Right, because what happens is, let's say that the data is being stored. Okay, let's say that we put the pile of who voted over here, but then who they voted for is supposed to be over here. Well, if you start putting those piles together, you get to find out who voted for who, which means that now somebody comes and gets a knock on their door. You see where this is going?
Well, it can't. Damn. I don't have a definite answer for you, and I try not to answer questions if I'm not sure about it. But can't they do that with regular poll votes anyway? Like, what's the difference between actually voting and going to get the registration if this law is passed?
Okay, so the registration to vote, essentially you are just signing a document stating that you are legally allowed to vote, right? They store that data in a certain place, but there can't be a poll tax, right? So because of the 24th Amendment. So they can't actually charge you for that registration. But then also at the poll itself, they can't charge you a tax for that, right? So there's nothing in the tax code allowed in the states or in the Fed. Okay. It's just simply not allowed. And so because of that, you basically have to offer this for free, but you also have to secure the data for free. For nothing, right? The government is doing this. Essentially, they are still serving, right? They're not getting paid for this. We're not paying them. It's not allowed, essentially, by the 24th Amendment. And so the data must be stored separately. And because it's stored separately, right, now you have two separate piles of data. One, the vote itself, which, okay, we say 200 people voted for this guy, 300 people voted for that guy. That goes into a pile. That's storage data. Okay. Then you've got a storage of data that is who is registered to vote. You are not allowed to mix those piles together, because if you do, then essentially somebody comes and knocks on your door and says, hey, heard you voted for that guy. Right. And there's a reason for that. That's a protection. It's a security for us, the people, privacy. Right. It's to be secure in the Fourth Amendment. Right. So all of the 11th through I think it's like 28 amendments are actually supposed to be tied back to the first 10. They cannot exist without the first 10. Right. And in fact, the truth is that the way that the Constitutional Bill of Rights is set up, each one piggybacks off the other. So the second piggybacks off the first, the third piggybacks off the second, so on and so forth. I know I've done that spiel before. But the idea here is that the Fourth Amendment is the key to the protection of your data, your privacy, your persons, your papers, your effects. The person that you voted for, nobody has a right to know who you voted for. Nobody. You get to choose that. And nobody can influence that except for through, basic, lobbying or commercialization, just talking, advertising, that sort of thing. No, unless you want to volunteer that information, it's not allowed.
So I think I have an answer for you. Yeah, nobody should know who we're voting for. and you feel the SAVE Act will make it easier for that. But is this just speculation, or do you know that's what's going to happen?
Well, I know that there's a cost to securing data. And so with no cost, right? And who's gonna pay for this? Number one. And number two is that oopsie, the data got released, and then you get a knock on the door. It just doesn't sit well with me.
Well, yeah, I have no definite answer for that. I would have to look more into that. But as of right now, we would have to agree that is speculation because we don't know the ins and outs of it. But that's a very good fucking argument, though, Clay. I'll give you that. Real quick, somebody in the comments said, "Oh, Clay knows the Fourth Amendment." Bravo, that's my boy. Clay knows basically all the fucking amendments, bro. Like Clay's good on that, bro. Clay's really good.
I appreciate that. Yeah. You know my concerns, but then I want to make sure that I get Real Talk in here on this as well. How do you feel about what we were just talking about the data storage, the privacy, the anonymity, the ability to vote without people getting a knock on the door?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Personally, I think if we were interested in protecting privacy in America, that pretty much went out the window the day social media was invented and smartphones. But as far as like what we're seeing out of this SAVE Act and what we're seeing out of this administration, the need to gather voters' information, the aggressive action on some of these state level, because we all know that the states traditionally take care of all the voting related things within their borders. So this is the federal government pressing down on states to get their voter data. That hasn't really happened in current day, politics. So that's very concerning. I hear what you're saying, Clay, that yeah, that's something to kind of pay attention to, because when the federal government is starting to demand voter data that they never demanded before for reasonings that hasn't been proven, you have to start asking questions and start lifting the blindfold over your eyes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, the privacy issue. The DMV already stores massive amounts of data. That's a cost to the American people. We actually have to pay for that data storage. And so, yeah, it's a concern for me. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I got. The big concern for me is the privacy.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Clay. Nova Star, are you here? It is your turn to ask questions to the panelists. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mr. For the Win
is powdering her nose.
Yeah, she's powdering her nose or taking a shit. For the Win, your question and answers, sir.
Yeah, before I get to that, I just wanted to expound on what Clay was just bringing up here. So, Clay, I do believe they already know our data in terms of who we already voted for. Like, this is record that the RNC DNC already has. So what is it that we're already, what more is it that we're giving up in a sense? Because heck, I can even go and look up online. I can put in my name and date of birth and it tells me everything I voted for, what election, everything.
I think Real Talk's got an answer to that.
It's voter registration data, which is specifically different from exit polls data. They're getting access to the voter polls, the voter registration rolls, and all those different things for people that didn't necessarily vote in that specific election, and they're keeping track of these things. They're telling states that, hey, you might want to get rid of that person or kick that person off of the registration polls. So that's the concerning part.
Like the 140-year-olds that are voting.
No,
we should kick those guys off, right?
140-year-olds that are voting. But I challenge you to prove that is happening on the large scale in this country in federal elections.
And that's the interesting thing, Real Talk, is that it doesn't have to happen on a large scale. they have Mike Lindell's group and everything. They've shown there's over 120 different ways that they can traffic a ballot. So every one of these different ways, you don't have to do it in large scales by any means whatsoever. But by the time you do it 120 different ways, yeah, it definitely influences these elections.
You're talking about Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Like he's been after 2020 since 2020.
Wait a second, and he told you it was how many ways to traffic a ballot in this
over
country?
120 different ways.
And what type of research did he cite?
Well, he did a 3-day news conference. Like back in 2021, mid 2021, and he's been on it ever since with it. He has a whole website dedicated to all of this stuff, and you can look it up. I don't have it offhand, but I can certainly find it and throw it in the back chat and everything. But yeah,
Understood.
there's all of this stuff that's actually happening. So, when you look at the California elections that are happening, you have people knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, did you vote? Because according to this record, we have someone here that's 140 years old. Is this person here? Oh, no, they're dead. Oh, wait, they don't even live here? So there's all these instances of it. So
have you actually looked into these situations? Because I'm not going to. What's that interview guy that went into Minnesota and ran into those random daycares and asked
Nick Curley.
Ran to the random daycares and asked to see random kids like they were actually going to do something like that. That's crazy to me. But I'm not following.
That's just the point. Is that it's happening, whether you want to think it's crazy or not, it's happening. And the same thing like in California.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. You can say it's happening all day, but you have
it's on video
that it's happening.
Yeah, they have it on video. They actually went and knocked on these doors and they actually interviewed these people.
Okay, and were
James O'Keefe did it, Cam Higby did it in California, and they asked all these people. They have shown the actual list that they get, and they go to an empty, deserted parking lot. And they said that there's 40 people registered here.
What list?
They have the data. They did it on the video. If you just go watch the video, you'll see it for yourself.
What data are they using to pull up to these people's houses?
I'm not sure offhand, but they had the data and they asked, hey, did this person actually vote here? And in one of those instances, when they had on Skid Row, they actually have these homeless people being paid $5 or cigarettes or what have you in exchange for filling out voter registration forms, the other type of thing, that the ballot initiatives as well too. So then they actually have it on video where they give them a Post-it note and say, hey, fill this out with this person's name, address, and whatever details on it.
A homeless person? Why
the homeless people are?
Why not have the homeless person just register themselves?
Well, they probably do that too, but at the same time, these people are gullible, manipulatable people. They're homeless, and most of them are on drugs. And you say, hey, what would you do for a cigarette? And that's where we're at in this country with these people. They're willing to actually take advantage of these people.
I don't think that's like, okay.
Just watch the video, and then you can make an assumption. Because when I say to you on face,
video too, but it was
James O'Keefe did that. Also. It was proven to be false. Oh, really? Did you watch the videos?
Yes. Did you understand the paper that he was using to pull up to those daycares? Do you know what research he was using to pull up to those daycares?
I'm sorry, but as far as when you have Somali-ran daycares, no one comes to the door and there's not a child in sight. At that point, if they are running a daycare and there's no children there, something's wrong, dude.
Do you understand the documentation that Nick Shirley was using was over 5 years old?
So what? Are they still running a daycare today?
No.
At
least two of those buildings were closed. At least, and a couple of those other daycares had notices posted online that they were downsizing.
That honestly sounds like fake news to me, bro, because these people got caught red-handed and you're just buying the BS.
How much research have you done into Nick Shirley's videos?
Not much, to be honest with you. Okay. But when I see that someone comes to the door and they say, no, go away, and there's not a child in sight, you run a daycare, like at my business, when I have inventory and stuff like that, if someone wanted to come on in, hey, you want to see inventory or whatever? I've got it right here.
So wait
They
a
don't
second.
have inventory. They do child care, bro. And there's no children in sight.
I'm sorry, y'all. But this kind of shows the kind of bias that you're willing to go through because you're not even looking at the other side of it. If you were a daycare manager and a random guy that you've never seen before walks up to your daycare with a camera crew and asks to see kids, are you going to show them kids?
Well, they're not even asking for to show children on tape there. They're literally showing right there the center, and there's not a child in sight. You don't have to do 2+2 at that point.
Do you understand? Do
you understand that what fraud is? And when people get confronted on fraud, what they do, they close the door behind them and they say, "Go away, because we don't want you here, because we don't want you to be exposed, sir."
Because it was a strange man at the door with a camera. They have kids.
About 1 minute left, guys.
So, anyways, we'll pivot back to the voter ID here. I caught in the last 15 minutes. Did you guys talk about the USPS balloting at all?
The USPS balloting?
Yeah, where USPS said that they're not going to be delivering any mail-in ballots to states that have not turned over the voter rolls to the feds.
That's weird and very concerning, if that is true. But I'm gonna have to do
that just came down today, so
looking into
take a look at that as well.
Yeah,
this is all going back to 2020, and it's not over.
Yeah,
so
if it is true, it's concerning.
Well, it's concerning that we have stolen elections in this country.
There hasn't been any stolen election in this country. Let's stop the madness, please.
Okay, gentlemen. Mr. Balderson, sir, your question and answer, please.
That was a good and respectful debate, gentlemen. Kraut, my biggest problem with where you stood on it is mostly that, and this is going to apply for future debates, you carried yourself well, but when you take the affirmative position, you need to lay out a position that he is negative. Like even at the end of the debate, you told him, I'm not convinced. Well, he wasn't supposed to be the convincer. You in the affirmative position are supposed to be the convincer. So you should have, so in your opening, you should have came in with, possibly some statistics, things like that would change the voting, would maybe have changed elections, things like that, where this is causing a problem in the country. And then his job is to refute what you're saying. So when you're in the affirmative, so it's just so you understand in the future for debates, the affirmative position is the one who lays the case out, and his responsibility is just to negate what you're saying. You kind of reversed it on him. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And thank you for the heads up. I appreciate that.
No problem. But other than that, you did great. And Kraut's fairly new.
Yeah, second. So, and what happened at the first debate, Spin? With my fucking luck, what happened when I had my first 1v1? The shit fucking shut down on us an hour and a half into it.
And you lost.
Yeah. So, this is just something that comes with learning, doing more debates and learning. So next time when you're taking the affirmative, be more prepared to make that affirmative position instead of trying to put the onus on him. Now, real talk. Here's where part of the problem comes in with your just plain old state ID. When even in California, when you read the back of this card, it says this card is not acceptable for official federal purposes. This license is issued only as a license to drive a motor vehicle. It does not establish eligibility for employment, voter registration, or public benefits. And so this isn't a real ID. I don't have the real ID, which is supposed to then cover all those things, but then also the real ID would be something that you could vote with. I don't really have a dog in the fight on it myself. You guys, neither of you can convince me that there's anything they give one shit about your vote, that every election for years and years hasn't been completely rigged. It's which side rigs it better. So
I agree with that.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, Nova's back. Yeah, that's about it for me. So Nova,
I would
she
agree
can
with you, Boulder,
miss
on your
Nova.
last statement. I agree with that, Boulder, on your last statement.
Yeah, we could, if you wanted to disagree with me on it, we could cite quite a few examples, like most recently the Bernie Sanders. And this was a primary, it wasn't in the federal election, but it just goes to show that in the Bernie Sanders case, they took that to court. In court, it was said right in an open courtroom that yes, the DNC cheated, put Hillary Clinton up as their candidate, but that because they're a private corporation, they are under no obligation to take the voters into account whatsoever. And if they want to choose their candidate in a smoke-filled back room, that shit was said in court, in a smoke-filled back room, that is their choice. And so this is what you get out of the RNC and the DNC. Every third party candidate that was serious, they've made serious rules after that in order to make sure that they can keep those people out, to the point where Ron Paul met all the requirements. They still wouldn't let him on the national stage because the RNC and the DNC are the most corrupt fucking companies in the fucking country. Nova, on you.
I pretty much agree with everything that he said on that. It's the truth. There's nothing but rigging and all this bullshit behind the veil of corporations and organizations. And then we, the people, we stand around thinking your vote really fucking matters, when in all honesty, it's the electoral vote that matters. You're just the popular vote. You're under this guise that, oh my God, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be patriotic. Okay, well, that's great. But at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about what you have to say. And they prove it every single day. But for me, where I stand on it is, the laws need to be upheld. And I'm really sick and tired of them making all these bylaws to bypass our main laws, which is the Constitution, which my relatives put into there. You're all welcome. You may kiss my feet. No, I'm just kidding. To which you live and govern by. And I'm really fucking tired of them abusing it. And then they bring in all these illegals and all these other people who already live in a socialistic or an iron fist. And then they turn around and they get them to agree to whatever it is that they want with their new slave laborers, So I'm tired of it. The laws need to be upheld. We need to have everything in place. And if you don't like it, too damn bad. Because as far as I'm concerned, the left, excuse me, I was drinking something. The left, they just want to have a whole nation of no laws. That's all they want to do. I'm done.
All righty. So we will now have
DJ
another little grift, and then we will open the panel. Okay, folks, the panel is open. Please be respectful. Mine, TOS. Please do not talk over each other, because no one can hear each other. The floor is yours, gentlemen and lady.
So I think out of everybody here, both on my side and against, Clay made the strongest argument. So I kind of want to hear. Well, I kind of thought of an answer while everybody else was talking. But now I'm stuck on stupid and I actually forgot my answer. But
nothing new.
My concern, much like the DMV and much like other organizations, or I should say agencies in the government, but like other agencies, they require data storage, which means that there's a cost, okay? Regardless of whether it's on paper or a server, it's still going to be a cost there. And when I say data storage, like I could get down with the voter ID. I could, but the problem is the 24th Amendment, the tax. I mean, you can't get past that. Like, the money is going to have to come from somewhere, and you can't allocate it from, like, I know that there's like this idea of a third party, versus a direct tax, it's still going to, like, you can't say, oh, we're going to just take it out of Social Security and all of a sudden it's no longer a tax. No, that's still a tax. It's still coming out of somewhere else. So you can't get past the 24th Amendment.
Well,
And then
would you say it costs money to hold the data of the actual votes for elections? Like, they got to hold those somewhere, right? And for data collections for the votes to tally them up, would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It costs it. Does it cost them?
Well, so that's why I wanted to hear from you again, because you brought up two good points with collections. But I feel like if the government wanted to collect information on this, they either already done it or they'll find another way to do it. But the 24th Amendment, that's another good point, which I'm gonna counter if you just give me 1 second. Other people can talk to you or talk about something else. I'm gonna bring something up real quick. I actually read about the 24th Amendment. Just give me a few minutes while you guys talk.
So while he's looking that up, so one of the things is filing, right? So essentially, whether it's on paper, which costs money, or in cybersecurity, whether it's behind a locked door or whether it's in a secure data center, it doesn't matter. It's still going to cost, lots of water cooling, or data storage, whatever, however you do that. And then on top of that comes in the Fourth Amendment. And it's because of the Fourth Amendment that the cost comes in. It's because of the Fourth Amendment so for the DMV, right, there's the DPPA. Your privacy is very important. So Congress decided to pass the DPPA, which is the Driver Protection Privacy Act. Your data actually ends up in a secure storage facility within cybersecurity. And then through the national database, they can transfer information, but it has to be a specific purpose for that. Like, you have a case going on, the speeding tickets, things like that. But even still, some of that data still can't even be passed on. Your data during just like a regular old Terry stop, the police store that data. And then unless it's for a specific purpose, they're not allowed to just access that data. And so that storage itself costs money. It also costs money to surveil. There's just no way to get around that, in my opinion.
Yeah, Clay. So I'm my argument for that, really for the 24th, is it's not necessarily a tax on voting, because again, like now I'll agree, men are going to have it a lot easier because when they get married, their last name doesn't change or anything like that. They're going to have it easier compared to women. But that said, there are women out there that never married, and poor people can, afford $50 or $80 or whatever it will be. Because again, I had no job and I was able to get all my fucking documents with no job. If you can't scrounge that money up, you're doing something fucking wrong. That has nothing to do with the government. But all that said, if we already have all those documents, like there's no tax involved. Like, I'm looking at it right now. The 24th Amendment specifically states you can't. It's a tax poll. Like, we're not getting taxed when we go to cast our ballot. Now, if your argument is it's going to cost extra money to hold that extra information, I mean, we pass bills and laws and all the time that's going to cost a little extra money. So that's the best argument I have for what you stated.
They still money for everything else, but it doesn't matter.
No, this is exactly the
You're on
problem
the
that I
wrong
have with
microphone.
I am? Okay.
Yeah, you're on the wrong one. This is exactly the problem that I have with it, because it was the same argument that they made for the Terry stop, right? They said, oh, it's a mere inconvenience. It's only a mere inconvenience on your Fourth Amendment. The officer gets to touch you, gets to fill up your butt.
Buy me dinner first.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then if it's really dangerous, like, oh my goodness, it could be a really dangerous neighborhood. Guess what he gets to do? He gets to put you in chains because it could be a dangerous neighborhood. Oh, and then if you're a little bit lippy with him, that means you could be even more dangerous. Guess what he gets to do? He gets to put you in a cage. That's right, the back of his patrol car. Because you get a little lippy with him, you could be dangerous. Now you're in chains and cages. How is that not a fucking arrest? And that's a mere inconvenience, they say.
Unless it happens to them.
Yes, unless it happens to them. Exactly. Chains and cages, and it's a mere inconvenience. Tax, but it's a mere inconvenience. Where's this argument going? So essentially, you get taxed, you get your Fourth Amendment stripped from you, right? Because now they've collected your data, and oopsie, I accidentally shared it with the wrong people, and then you come and get a knock on the door. I mean, it's just that simple, bro. I see it happening. Like, as soon as they have your data, you think they're not going to use it?
Clay.
Yeah, they're going to use it.
Do you
Slow
think
down,
the
please.
government has the means and ends to collect our data right now?
Yes.
I
Clay,
mean,
that's
so
exactly what I was going to say. It's already a risk anytime you just sign up for Facebook, okay? So what the real deal is here is the Save America Act does not do anything like that. It's not going to violate any of those things. It's just an amendment to the 1993 National Voter Registration Act of 1993. It's just an amendment to that. All it's going to do is bring that up to date and make that
What does it
up to
actually
date with modern terms.
Who
What
is
does it
that
actually-
talking?
What does that actually do?
It actually makes it for you to register as a voter, you now in person. And so that's a big key to it is in person have to provide an extra thing like a military ID, a birth certificate. It can't just be a social security card and a state ID. You have to add extra information, and this has to be done in person. So there's going to be a substantial amount of out-of-country mail-in voters that this is obviously going to cause problems for them. The thing with women is kind of a nonsense thing. That's something that Democrats are just, it's a talking point that they say to be stupid. My wife just got done. She wanted everybody to know that when you go in and get your name changed, assuming that you want to get your name changed when you get married, when they do the thing to change the birth, over the social security card and the driver's license, they automatically do the thing to change you to voter, your vote. They offer.
They give you the form right then and there to change your name on your voter registration or to register to vote in the first place.
Well, the problem with that is that if that name on your voter roll doesn't match your birth certificate, the save
Well, you understand that. You understand
right
that.
then and there. It's going to be done right there, written there, real baby.
Right then and there while you're changing the forms because you've just gotten married and you're going to go in and you go in and get a new driver's license, new social security card. They also give you a voter registration if you want, so you can change all of these things all at once and you're good to go.
Does it change your birth certificate? Because that's the excuse that they're using to keep people off of voter rolls is that this last name doesn't match.
No, the birth certificate's not the birth certificate's not the only thing.
No, I'm telling you what the Trump administration is out here saying and telling these states.
And I'm telling you what the actual thing says. Here, I will read off the list. Requires physical proof of citizenship, such as a U.S. passport, a military ID, a tribal ID, or a birth certificate, rather than just a driver's license or social security number.
So you have to have that matching name, that new married name on either your passport, birth certificate, or military ID.
Once again, they give it to you all. And this is my wife telling you, because I mean, she did that. She went through this procedure and they give you all those things and let you change them all at once. So
Well,
this
I'm saying
this myth that the Democrats have went out to get everybody drummed up, it is. It's propaganda that the Democrats have done in order to get everybody's emotions drummed up.
What Real is saying is we have some really crazy arranged marriages in this country is what he's saying. We arrange marriages at birth. That's how that matches up then, right?
No,
Are you really serious, bro? A birth
No,
certificate's
let me
name is
speak.
going to match a marriage name. Come on,
Hold
man.
up.
No, what I'm
Hold up.
saying
Let me
is
ask
that the
Porter one
SAVE
question
Act
real
is
quick.
One at a time.
well, all I'm trying to get here is that if a woman that's interested in being married doesn't already have a passport, doesn't already have a military ID, all they have in this equation is a birth certificate, and she gets married, and you're telling me that there's an option to change that last name on that birth certificate?
No, there's an option to
No.
change your voter registration right then and there when you do all the rest of the paperwork.
Okay, can I bounce off of that real quick? This Trump administration is using this SAVE Act to say this last name doesn't match what we see on this birth certificate. So therefore, we're going to throw this name on the voter rolls in question.
Let me
You
ask
know
you a
what I'm saying?
question. Why is that a problem to begin with? I mean, if you're going to go buy a house, buy a car, or anything, and you need to get finance, all your shit better be in line anyway. So why is it a
Because
problem?
how slow are government notifications?
It's the Fourth Amendment.
It doesn't matter.
They're
It
actually not
gets
that
done.
slow.
You have to have the proper identification to get it done to begin
It's
with.
putting
And this is
more
this
red
no
tape
no
around
this
voting.
is
You
a
can have it
legal
out to you
process
in
like
2
any
weeks.
legal. It's a legal process like any legal process. What's the
No,
difference?
It's for no reason. It's
No,
asinine.
no,
The
no.
Fourth
That's
We
just because
already
you want to
have
have
we
no
already
laws.
have ID requirements to register to vote in 50 of our 49 states.
Yeah, well, you know what? Then if you're not a citizen and you don't have all your identification placed, then I guess you don't get to vote. Now, do you?
That's already the
The Fourth
case.
Amendment.
Also, real
Really?
talk.
Yes, it is.
I want to ask you a question, real talk, just to understand. Are you saying this bill, if passed, can affect married women, females, because of their birth certificate not matching their last name when they changed it to their husbands?
On the voter rolls, if that last name doesn't match the birth certificate on the voter rolls, then the way the SAVE Act is set up, the federal government can throw that name on the voter rolls in question.
It's already going to be changed over. Real.
Or ask the state
are
to
more
remove
likely
it.
to
It'll
get
get in the
married
way of your
anyway. So
benefits too, now, doesn't it?
Huh?
the Conservative Party will be more affected by this bill from your standpoint than Democrats, because we're more likely to get married anyway. So I don't believe that's a good
That's an
talking point.
asinine
Absolutely,
rebuttal.
Mickey. That's
It's a weak
absolutely
point.
correct.
I don't care
Huh?
about partisan when it comes to this. I care
So
about
if it would affect
it would be
vote the most Americans
conservative,
possible to vote.
The Democrats argue that's one of the reasons why Trump is trying to pass this bill to put voter suppression on females and minorities.
No,
But the
I think
female
I
act-
think it's purely because of a distraction, and he's butthurt about 2020 and can't.
well, that
commit
may,
to a
that
law.
may be, but
I mean, he's
it-
wanting
it-
to make it harder for the next Republican to win.
No, he
There,
just
yeah,
can't
there
admit
are.
to a
Yeah,
loss.
I think
like I
Toasty
said
understands
before.
where I'm coming from. If the Democrats want to argue it's a way to suppress female voter, then that's fucking counterintuitive, because Republicans are more likely to get married, which means Republican females will feel that effect more and have to go through a couple extra hoops. to be
Republican
able to
females
vote.
are the highest voting bloc. Just so you know.
Okay, these
Yeah.
tariffs affected Republican people also, but he does it. He does things that affect Republicans and Democrats in the negative way. He's been doing that for the
It's
past
not
2 years.
negative. You're making it negative. It's not negative because you don't want to have any
The
laws to
tariff
apply
drives
to you.
inflation in this economy.
Oh, bullshit.
Now
Who's
again,
paying- who's
Clay's
paying you to
the
read the
only one that
script?
came on here with the
It's not
strong
a script. It's
Sure.
simple statistics.
Well,
and
I have
Sure.
I have another portion to that as well. So what's to stop me, okay, from bringing in a fake ID? You can't store that data, right? You're not allowed
Well,
to
I
store
already mentioned fake IDs. They're actually pretty easy to get. Even again, anecdotal, I try
Mhm.
not to use.
Go to Griffith
but
Park.
right. So
personally
if
look
if
for
I bring in a fake ID, right, essentially you're not allowed to store that data at the poll. Okay, I still get to vote because I'm an American citizen. Just might be an American citizen who, for some reason, I don't have an ID. Right, I'm an American citizen, so I go and get a fake ID. Right, I'm actually legally allowed to vote, but the data that you're storing, you actually can't store the data. By the way, you on the federal level and the state level don't have the means to actually store that data without a cost. You still can't get past the cost, right? The actual
Cost is
storage
already
of
going to be
data.
there, Clay.
Well, let me
Cost is
ask you a
already
question,
done.
Clay. Let me ask you a question. All right, so I support the SAVE Act bill, and I'm going to do more research for your 24th talking point, but this whole collecting data doesn't make sense. But I'm going to try to argue the 24th. So the SAVE Act is effectively helping to stop a problem, regardless on how small it is, to not exist in the first place. Now, let's say you're in a city and you got a bridge tore up. It's been like 50 years since it had any type of repairs on it. Who's paying for those repairs? Are your taxes going to go up for a couple years to pay for those repairs?
Yep, and I'm cool with that.
All right,
because there's no law against it. The Constitution does not forbid it.
Well, what you're speaking technically doesn't go against the 24th Amendment either.
Really?
It does.
Storage of data requires money. That
Well, I
means
think
that's the people. People have to pay for it.
I think we can all agree the government has all of our information anyway.
Yeah, but just because they have our look, here's another thing. Just because the government can do it doesn't make it a good argument. The government can do a lot of things, bro. You know, just because those fuckers in Washington can do these things, that doesn't make it a good argument. They can do a lot of things. In fact, we know of one particular thing that they did, and they won't release the information on. Epstein, right? So because of that, we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs about these things that they can and can't do. Just because they can doesn't mean that they should, right? But in all seriousness, yeah, I don't see how you get past the tax because literally to secure information requires either a really heavy locked door or a incredibly trusted cybersecurity team.
They'll separate it out. Clay. That's what they'll do. They'll separate it out just like they do anything else. That's why it's not really a concern to the SAVE Act. Like I said before, the SAVE Act is just an amendment to the 1993 Voter Registration Act.
Well, which is exactly why I brought up the idea of bringing in a fake ID. Because if I bring in a fake ID, then you can't store the data.
Who is that talking?
That's why he wants it to be much stronger and better. That's why he's making an amendment to the 1993 Voter Registration Act. Because of that concern right there.
Hard talk. Will you acknowledge that the SAVE Act doesn't just add on more requirements to the registration process? It does allow the federal government to ask for certain data from the states, right?
It can. Because that's just the state
it
right.
authorizes the federal government to pull that data from the states, right?
Yes, because that's just the natural right of the states to begin with.
It's a natural right of the states, not the federal government.
It's a natural right for both state and federal. They can both do
it's
that.
The
data has to travel up
were
towards
very
the
clear
federal.
about leaving that right to the states.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The founding fathers were very clear about leaving that right to the states when it comes to running their own elections.
Yes, but they have to compile the states have to compile that data anyway to begin with and hand it up to federal, so the federal can
There's nothing in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, or anything else that says that that is a
because that was an
requirement.
amendment in the 1863.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
That wasn't a requirement.
Yeah, the states are actually forbid from actually giving polling tax as well.
Giving the federal government control over our elections, especially state level elections, is a very slippery slope that I don't think many people want to go down.
Yeah, that's my issue. It really boils down to the Fourth Amendment and me to be able to be secure in my vote. Like if I give a vote, right, and I come in, no, I'm an American, yeah, but you're sitting here telling me as an American that I actually have to give up my information to do something that I'm legally allowed to do. Now we're in the territory of the Fourth Amendment every single time.
Yeah, I keep hearing the states' rights, and that rings true. How is states' rights not true? I didn't hear an amendment number.
That would be the 10th Amendment, sir.
Thank you. I'm just going to pull that text up. Somebody showed me a cute little trick that's actually the 13th article. That be about right?
I think it's the 12th.
That's close. Close enough for government work, quite literally.
Right. Horseshoes and hand grenades playing around.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, I'm just checking this out. I'd like to check myself.
Hey, Santa. Good to see you.
Likewise. You guys don't get to see me because I'm not running my AC. I'm sitting in front of a fan with a drink with a little, what is that? Umbrella in it.
A little Mai Tai.
Nah, it's actually milk. I was just thought I'd be dramatic.
Ew. In that heat, should be a mojito.
Actually, we just had good news this week on that front. The Supreme Court came in and said you cannot keep us from having guns just because we smoke the fucking reefer. Fuck you all.
Thank God.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because people high on Percocet, being an expert at such a thing, might be more altered. Yeah, I don't do it now, but 10 years, my doctor agreed that was the best treatment modality, and I got to where I healed enough to leave it. But I still carried with that. No one better than I. Okay. So I'm just reading the full text of it.
It was 9-0, Ant. Absolutely. The Supreme Court got one right.
Thank God for once, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to frighten you guys by agreeing with Clay.
You do that once in a while, though, don't you?
I do. And you know what? I probably do it more than you think because I won't say too much until I'm like, hey, poppycock.
I kind of knew me and Clay would disagree with this because one of the first times I joined this panel, me and him has total different ideas on what rights are. And
yeah.
Well, I disagree with a few people about what rights are, and everybody keeps telling me how people can take me away, and I invite them to come by and take mine away.
I believe
you. Well, I believe you surrender them when you do shit you know is wrong. Play the game, pay the price.
Yeah, it's a
That's what
forfeiture.
it is.
Yep.
Yeah. But I
yeah.
told for the win when we were talking, there's actually nothing in the Constitution that says we have an inherent right to vote. It's as a civilization that the government agreed we should be able to write. But there's nothing in the Constitution. There's only those 4 amendments that restrict the government from interfering in our votes.
Well, it was assumed we'd have the rights because they didn't want to be a monarchy again because monarchies are bad because they came from a monarchy and most of them were fleeing the monarchy. I mean, mine weren't really fleeing it. They were just told we're going to kill you or you can leave. I guess that's following the option. Now, I posted the text of the summary of the 10th Amendment, and I said where the federal government only has the powers delegated in the Constitution. I don't recall which article of the Constitution says that the federal is the only one who is responsible for defining the votes of the state, but I have read where states have control over their state elections held in that state. And second point, not only are they responsible for that, they're allowed to pick and do their delegates who will represent the state at the federal level. So that's 2 layers of bureaucracy that the state leadership is responsible for without the guidance control of the federal government. Or where am I mistaken, please?
That's perfect.
Sounds good to me.
I don't really have an answer for that, and I'll be very transparent here. If I am to change my stance on the Save America Act, it's not because I don't feel non-citizens are a threat. I do think that's a big problem. It will be because Clay made a very good argument on it could possibly lead into going against the 24th Amendment. Now, I'm not at that point yet. I'm going to do more research after I get off this. Probably be about 30 minutes.
Sure.
But that's not. Yeah, non-citizens aren't going to be the reason I change my mind. It'll literally be because of the the one argument, Clay, the one argument you brought.
Yeah, and just to be clear on that too, there isn't a tax currently, right? And this is why I appreciate what Real Talk said, which is that it's a slippery slope. It creates a slippery slope because what it does is it presents a system where you actually have to present an identification. Now, that identification, of course, has to be stored if it is to be treated as some type of verification. Without the storage of data, there is no way to verify it. And because you need to verify it according to these backlogs, like Social Security goes with the Social Security, okay, you're the right person. Driver's license goes with the driver's license, all right, you're the right person, so on and so forth. Now we're talking about the Fourth Amendment and the ability to be secure, which means that some type of storage has to happen. That's got to be paid for. Now you're getting into the 24th. And so,
may I ask a question first, Kraut?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm getting all curious about the Fourth Amendment and anybody relying on a Social Security number for identification when the cards used to say right on them not to be used for identification.
Correct.
And when Real Talk is talking about slippery slope, is there not a finer example of such a slippery slope?
Yes. Especially when you go
a finer example than the Social Security number.
Well, no, you mentioned states' rights and slippery slopes, as the Social Security card was commonly used for identification, even though it's not supposed to be used for identification. It became our primary identification for a number of our records.
True.
So I'm saying right there, the slippery slope arguments are real. They're examples of them being real. And if I may continue with another point, this is a really simple thing. The more power you give to the government, the more power they're never giving back.
Correct.
I'm ready to hear how that's not a true premise, because it happens, and it happens with every government. It's not a capitalism thing. It's not a communism thing. It's not a socialism thing. It's a humanism thing. And where you give power to individuals, they kind of like it. That's where I like Lord of the Flies as an example. And I agree. And okay, it probably won't go to that extent, but we've seen 1984 situations happen, at least within the lifetime of our parents. So slippery slopes are scary to me. They happen quick.
I will say this. Well, damn, I just had it slipped out of my mind. Damn.
I apologize.
No, it literally was my fault. I should have said it earlier. I do not know what I was going to say.
Isn't it interesting how the people that end up in charge are always the ones that would be those Lord of the Flies fucks?
Always.
Not people. This is what I was saying.
How they're selected.
That's what I was saying earlier. I would never let any there's been not a presidential candidate in my lifetime that I'd let babysit my dog. These are horrible people. Why are they presented as the best, the brightest, and the best leadership of America?
You know who should run for office?
Because they think everybody else is fucking stupid.
And apparently they are.
Indeed, yeah. They like to be lied to.
Yeah.
Who's that motherfucker that played Mr. Dean?
You guys do realize you can go right into Griffith Park in California and buy your Social Security card, your everything else that you damn well need, and it's quite the deal.
And I will say, Arizona was once known as the identity theft capital of the state.
One of them, yeah.
Wow, another border state. Who would have thunk it?
So Clay, I got a question for you. Would you agree non-citizens is a threat to voter? To voting in America? Would you say it is a threat?
Are you asking me?
Who are you asking?
Are you asking?
I'm asking Clay, but you can answer if you want.
It's less of an actual voting problem and more of a districting problem. There really isn't enough of them that vote. Actually, I agree with Real Talk. You could maybe come up with a couple of immigrants that are going to go in and risk themselves to vote. But honestly, it's the same thing I say about the fucking the riots down south and the protests and stuff, there isn't no illegal immigrants in those. That's all that's all fucking liberal kids and shit. I know a lot of illegal immigrants, and they keep their head down. They don't want attention.
Doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. If they can get you to go to the store for them, they will, because they don't want to be seen.
It's like being on the run from the police for a warrant. You don't go out into public. I've been on the run before, like 100%. Knowing that I'm going to jail.
Tell me later.
I wish I had your mindset, Clay.
Yeah, when you violate, like if you've ever violated probation, you know the argument Ben's making. Okay, if you've ever violated a day, the first day of your violation, the second day of your violation, the 900th day of your violation, you are not going to the fucking store.
Exactly. You're not going anywhere where anybody might recognize you or bump into you, because it's just life. So them actually voting is a red herring. But the thing that they do affect is when they change the districts. So they do take account of them in the censuses, and especially like more recently in California where they redistricted. It does affect that, but not so much on the actual voting.
May I reply?
No, Santa, you shut up.
Yeah, you know I respond well to that.
I'd like to point out,
to answer Kraut's question. Now, do I think that people who are not here legally registering to vote endangers that system in some way? I'll say yes, because of the pressures Clay and other people have mentioned, they are vulnerable to exploitation. So if their employer, who knows that they're here under the table or the paperwork's hanky or whatever situation, and they're just bone diggity doggity for the Reds or the Blues or whatever, he might let everyone know with a wink, this is how we're voting. Second part, how it damages. It damages because it does have to do with districting, because districting has to do with the number of people in a particular area. That's what the census is for. That's what all these other things are for. It's to identify how many people are where, so they know how many representatives are needed to cover the state and particular areas in the state. The third way that I think it's bad doesn't even have to do with the illegal immigrants. It has to do with anybody down on their luck. And apparently it was LA. Somebody's already pled guilty to getting a bunch of people on the street. I saw her interview. She said it outright. She was going to get like $5 per person to get them to sign some paper. Now, apparently she was getting a couple of bucks, and the people who were homeless, they said, yeah, they gave me $2 to sign this sheet of paper. Now, I saw their direct interviews. It was anything. Did I freak out? No, I'm like, oh, well, that's human nature. People take advantage of people. So if those people out on the street want a couple of bucks, they might be willing to sign a paper that they don't see might hurt them. But if those people or enough people are signing those, then it does perturb the system. It messes up districting. And when we go back to it, okay, yes, it does.
Santa, wouldn't that create a cause for federal to be able to come in and investigate the elections that are going on at the state level, which then the state has to turn over?
I think I'm lagging, bro.
Well, to
I can't hear you. I'm sorry, it was lagging on my side.
To kind of bounce off of what you said, Santa, is like I don't think it's that big of an issue. The way you kind of put it. I think you kind of left a lot of space in between those kind of statements that, you went from people signing people being paid to sign a piece of paper, but there's a lot of steps in between that, from the registration to actually voting or even mail-in.
So what did they sign?
That's what I'm wondering. Exactly. What did they sign?
It's easy to Google and see what the lady pled guilty to for, having them sign documents for money. I mean, it's not a secret.
the question is, what are those documents?
And those people weren't illegal aliens.
I understand that, but what were those documents?
Right.
New
I'm saying it's a
registration?
news article.
There's a number of different things that aren't necessarily one thing that are being talked about here right now. The one thing that you're discussing right now is they're going around to people, usually homeless people, and getting them to sign different, trying to bring different bills up, all polls, all that kind of thing. That's one issue. And them people, and they are paying him in cigarettes. This has been recorded in money, in food. So this is one issue, which is then that's getting things put on the ballots, which the normal voters wouldn't necessarily do, but you're paying people to put it on, to sign these things. So that's one issue. Where he's talking about the census issue, those illegal immigrants don't get to vote, but what they do is change the districting, and they typically live in more liberal areas. So then this gives those areas an undue amount of power, even though they're not getting the votes. That's still a liberal area. You're not really changing the voter dynamic, because funny enough, most illegal immigrants that come from Mexico anyways are typically pretty conservative people and probably would have voted conservative, but they don't get to vote. They're just changing it so that it gets redistricted, because they're going to put more representatives in that area because it's got a higher population density because of this. So these are different subjects that don't really, they're not, he's just bringing up numerous things.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think that's kind of a conflation. Now, to bring to the document thing that was brought up by
But if I may, here's how they can overlap. Are we suggesting here on this chat that there are no illegal immigrants who are homeless?
Not too damn many, actually, that I've ever seen.
Oh, I know. Those are the ones.
Yeah,
who
they all stay in the same house, so their rent is pretty cheap.
Well, that's not it either. But Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong,
I was making a joke.
posted it in the chat. She pled guilty to this, and I got it from the DOJ. All I'm saying is that vulnerable people.
Exactly.
She was for a scheme where she paid homeless individuals on Skid Row $2 to $3 to sign and fill out fraudulent voter registration form and political petitions. It's right there in the chat, in the private chat, in the public chat. I think it was something that other people were looking at for election integrity, started by the feds, interestingly enough.
So the system that we have in place caught that fraudulent activity.
The last sentence. She agreed to plead guilty to federal charges carrying a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. She pled guilty, bro. It doesn't matter how she got caught. She was doing it.
But where the problem with the system in place comes in is they're going out and they're making it easy for these people to register, and then they actually, even when it's voting time, will come back and take them out for a meal and a shower and get them to vote and everything. It's a real problem. This is a California issue, though, mostly.
But it should
be easy for Americans to register.
Yeah,
I'm only talking about facts that really happen. I'm really providing the receipts, as we say, in the common.
And if those things are going on, that's violating.
I'm just as confused as you are.
That's violating the HAVA Act.
The story is about. I have
the
no
NRVA of 1993.
I think we're talking, and I think I
and the
apologize.
CRA Act of 1960, in which case the federal government can grant itself rights to be able to get into the state system and look at everything that they're doing. Even though ordinarily, you would be correct. The state doesn't have to submit things to the federal. But if those things are going on that, like Salty Santa just described, then yes, that violates the HAVA Act. That violates the NRVA Act of 1993 and the Civil Rights Act of 1960. And the HAVA Act of 2002, in which case the federal can grant itself rights to be able to go and extract that information and be able to set the record straight.
Yes,
So
those
yes,
are
your state, your federal
those are
absolutely can get into your
those
state.
are emergency powers, are they not?
No, they're not.
So
May
wait a
Let
second.
me read to you. Okay, so
It'd be situational powers. They don't just ever after get to keep digging in your state records. It would just be to remedy
yeah,
that.
no. Like there has to
Right,
be a
for a
conclusion to it
purpose.
eventually. Yeah.
Right. It's got to be a for purpose. Otherwise, and this goes kind of back to what I was talking about with the agencies, the DMV, your local police department, in their policies, which it, by the way, policy is fucking law. I hate it when auditors do that shit. Policy is the law. It is a law if it's policy. That means it's written into the code. It is an ordinance. Yes. So here's the thing. Those policies require, those regulations require that those agencies act accordingly with whatever purpose has been stated. Whether it's legislation, sometimes it's legislation, or if it's an executive power that the mayor or your governor or the president of the United States has said, go do this. This is your order. If it's the chief of police, this is your order. Now go do this. There has to be a specific purpose. It has to be written out. It has to be given. This is why you have teletypes now. This is why you have even with radio traffic. Radio traffic's supposed to be recorded. All of the communications are supposed to be recorded.
Yes.
The only time that they get a little leeway on that is for tactical purposes. By the way, tactics and then even that, it's just in the moment. Right. So everything that's done, everything it is done, it must be transparent. Okay. We're going to be transparent on this panel and we're going to be transparent in the government. Sorry. But with the save.
Why President Trump issued the executive order preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections, executive order?
I'm sorry.
Wouldn't what you just outlined be why Trump issued it as an executive order called preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections? So he could go in and he can look at all that.
I don't like you're giving me a name of a bill or a executive.
That was an executive order.
Direct executive order from Trump.
Which did what?
It's a direct executive order from Trump. It's called preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections. The EO includes several administration policies with regards to voter registration lists and other records. For example,
an executive order that did a policy.
That's why
he issued it as a policy so that he could be able to go in and look and
so
make sure that
no, you can't do that, right? So the regulation allows Donald Trump or whatever president or mayor or governor to issue an executive order upon policy, upon regulation. It is his power. It's the other way around. He is doing it because he has the regulation to do it.
Right. Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, he can't do the job of Congress.
Right.
Congress has a purpose.
Real talk, we probably agree more than you think, but my example of what's happening on the ground is an example to Kraut as an answer to Kraut's question. Am I concerned that it could be? Yeah, I just said how it is. Here's an example.
Kraut?
No, I'm not calling Kraut out, but he asked if he.
Are you calling him Kraut?
Kraut. Crout. That's what his little name.
He does look like a fucking fat-faced trout, but we'll leave that alone.
A crouching trout.
I've already been called fat and something else in the last few days. I'm talking to Mr.
You're in a wheelchair, so you're not exactly getting the exercise the average man needs, brother.
Jeez,
don't be fat shaming me. I got 3 kids. I'm allowed to.
Hey, I wasn't fat.
You didn't burn them. You didn't burn them.
Yeah. It's called sympathy weight. Go ahead, Nova Star.
I said dad bods are in, gentlemen. You guys do understand, like in 2025 in Anacrime, we call it Anacrime, but it's called Anaheim. Okay, that's the real name. They had more than 200,000 ballots have been rejected for signature. Problems since 2020, direct quotes. Thank you for that part, Spittle. But the other part is that in the OC, they had a 3-1 denial due to illegal immigrants voting in the last city's votes before the midterms. So, I mean, it's all right there.
Yeah, and it does happen. Like the thing is,
All the time.
it does happen, right? And that part you can't get around either. I'm actually going to quote the civil rights lawyer: "Freedom is scary.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with
it."
it."
I thought you would do that when you saw a civil rights lawyer right on his name. I was like, "Oh, here we go."
But yeah, it was fun, y'all. I got to get out of here. I got work in the morning, and I got to get the kids up.
Hey, real talk.
Feel free to tell everybody where to find you. Thank you for coming in. You were an excellent debater.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Tomato said to make sure to pass on her information to set you up for debates over on her channel too.
Okay.
Sarah Tomato's great.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm still kind of new to this debate thing. I'm usually reacting to different things on my YouTube channel, but I appreciate the compliment.
You did fine to me, man. You did fine to me. Yeah, make sure you get over to Sarah. Okay. Definitely. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe over on Spin City News and the Benjamin Balderson channel. And again, I appreciate you coming in. Yeah, and you can finish your final thought. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate y'all for giving me this opportunity. I'm just kind of making the rounds, seeing what the debate spaces are right now, since I'm still kind of new. And yeah, I appreciate this opportunity. If there's anybody out there watching, you can find me at Real Talk Politics TV, the @ symbol before real. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for this interesting conversation.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, brother, man.
And the floor is back to you, gentlemen and
hold on, because
lady.
I'm going to get off too. So I don't really have a closing statement because I already did that.
Oh, you little fucking bitch.
No opening
Go ahead.
statement, no closing statement, no final statement. Boy, you ain't
I
putting
gave-
up no fucking argument.
Hold up. I gave my closing
you shouldn't be
statement.
calling people
And
little
it was
bitches.
1v1. I'm not fixing to do 2 closing statements, so I'm just going to say 2 things that aren't closing statements. Clay, I hear what you're saying. Most of what you're saying is speculation, though. There's an argument to be had about the 24th Amendment, though. That's a really good argument. And Boulder, to your point, I appreciate that, bro. I mean, you're like 100, so you have a lot of experience and knowledge that I generally do take to heart. And Spin, thanks for having me. I hope to do this again. It went a lot fucking better compared to my first and last 1v1. But yeah, everybody have a good night.
All right, sauerkraut, trout face.
Thanks, brother.
Right on, Trout.
Yep.
I do have a bad accent, don't I?
You have a horrible.
You also
accent.
have pillow arms, but we weren't mentioning all that.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's almost.
I'll
It's
just
so
clear that
atrocious.
up.
We thought you were Mexican.
If I was Mexican,
Oh
I
my
wouldn't
God.
deny it. I only didn't marry Mexican because I didn't want to gain more weight. I love Mexican food.
Well, gentlemen, the StreamYard link is in the chat. If anybody'd like to come up and talk, we will open it up to a grab bag topic, or we can stay on this topic. That's fine.
Doing here while I'm doing.
I
this,
don't think
so
there's really
maybe
anybody
not.
holding to it.
Maybe like grabbing your shit, picking up the cardboard. Oh,
Yeah, just to kind of close
Well,
on it.
you know, there is a lady on the panel. She does have a topic. We will change it at her request.
At
Go
the
ahead,
moment-
Clay.
At the moment, I do not, but I'll think about it.
Think. Damn it. Think. No, go ahead, Clay.
I'll try.
But
I was blonde.
while you're contemplating, not constipating.
Yes, really. Yes.
I just want to close on that topic, particularly with, like I said, I could get down with voter ID if you could get past the 24th and the 4th. Other than that, like the rest of it is what anecdotal. Really, ultimately, the Constitution more or less forbids it, right? Because essentially your anonymity your Fourth Amendment's supposed to protect your anonymity and that sort of thing. And then if you bring money into the situation, if you're talking about voting, the 24th is going to block that. And then obviously, you do have some, like most of the states are actually well established already. So you're not only going to have to change that factor or just kind of bypass it saying it's American inconvenience, but then the states themselves have well-established laws protecting your anonymity within the data. There's literally tons and tons of laws restricting the usage of your data in improper ways. So it's not just the Constitution, but it's also the state's statutes and laws and ordinances as well. And it's not just the liberal states, by the way. It's the red states too. All of this, like they don't all have as many restrictions. I think it's like well over 40 though.
Okay, can I respond to that for a second? If your ID is only observed to make sure that you get handed a ballot, where did you lose Fourth Amendment protection?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is the ID, right?
It's not for a ballot, guys. It's for registration. The whole act is for registration, and they aren't really changing anything about the voting in and of itself.
Well, when I went to the polling booth, I was asked my ID because I was already on the voter roll. So where was my Fourth Amendment abridged?
Did you do that? Did you do that at one of the party stations?
No, it was a polling it was a voting location within the doors of
the actual poll. Okay. Yeah, because your party affiliation, your all that craziness, all that, it doesn't matter. The truth is, none of that matters. You can go in there and be like, I'm a leafy green American. That's my party affiliation. They're going to look at you and be like, who the fuck cares?
Well, they care when Democrats or Republicans are running party only. Arizona was famous for this. You had to be Democrat or Republican to vote on certain, measures, ballot initiatives and stuff like that. It might not be familiar to you, but I thought it was an abrogation of my rights because the Constitution didn't say that I have to claim one or the other.
Yeah, it's called anonymity. Like, here's the thing. I think that a lot of Americans.
Sure, but how do I lose my rights by showing my ID where they verify my name on a roll?
Let me say this. I think a lot of Americans are really dumb and they talk too much. And they show the government way too much information. So when somebody from the government says, hey, can I see your ID?
Are you including yourself, Clay?
Your answer should be immediately, do you have a reason? How about RAS? How about any RAS? Oh, no RAS? I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. And then you walk the fuck away. That's how you handle that situation. Well, and then you actually what I would say too about that is you ask for a supervisor. You ask for a supervisor as well. You say, hey,
sure.
I want to speak to
depending on where you are, because in some states you have a duty to ID. What most people don't understand is that might be your name and last name. That's still not your ID card. If you're not operating a vehicle, that's not your driver's license, unless your state also specifies that.
If you're not committing a crime, about to commit a crime, or in the act of committing a crime, the question is, or the statement is, am I being detained? And when they say no, then you walk the fuck away. Say, I'm going to continue my business. Sure. That's it.
You and I agree on that. Whatever. We would handle it differently. I'm in the polling building or the voting building.
Yes.
There are observers there. Ballots are there.
Okay.
And I was registered to vote.
Okay.
What did I give up on my Fourth Amendment when I showed ID that I am he on that list?
You gave
And
up
they
your
hand me a
information.
ballot.
You
Right.
gave up your information.
I've already been in the military. They already have all that information. They have way more than that.
Yeah. So
I
just 'cause
was in
they have it,
Arizona at the
you should
time.
give it up again.
Yeah,
In that
I
same
bought
vein,
So
No,
every,
no,
see,
I
and that's what
love
I'm
Fourth
talking about.
Amendment absolutist.
When a government official
Yeah.
does a certain thing according to regulation, it must be policy. It must be done according to whatever that regulation is. If they
Okay,
go
so,
outside
well-
of that regulation, or you suspect that they're going outside of that regulation, your next statement should be, "Can I speak to your supervisor?"
Right. I'm not arguing that point with you. I will once again just ask you to answer how my Fourth Amendment rights were abrogated or abridged by my showing an ID to match my name on an existing voter roll list because I was registered to vote.
Are you required to show that information to vote?
Yeah, I was.
By that particular municipality?
Yes.
Okay. How about in the
So
state?
how are my Fourth Amendment rights?
Does the
surrendered?
state require you?
Yes. Okay.
The statute.
They did.
There's a statute that requires that.
I'm almost certain of it. You would think that I'm out giving my information. That's not true. Look my name up. You won't find me on the internet.
So,
I'm not
so you don't know.
a big open talker person.
You don't know whether an ordinance or a statute was written in order for you to show ID.
It doesn't matter. You have
It
to
does.
show
Oh,
how
yeah.
my
Oh,
Fourth
hold on.
Amendment.
Whoa. You're saying that the law doesn't matter now?
Yeah, I say that all the time.
This is
That's
the problem.
when you lit up.
This is the problem right here, America.
No, you're still talking over me again, brother. Let
No,
me answer
this is
how
the
it's a
problem. I'm not talking over you. You just said something really
Okay, I'll
dumb.
just
The
wait
law
until you're
doesn't
done
matter in
talking
America.
over me to talk. I'm not
you just
upset. You
answered
can
the
keep talking
statement.
over me.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you. You said the law doesn't matter.
I know you're done
I'm
with
done
me because you got worried about
done with you.
ordinances,
I'm
and I
not
said,
worried.
"Hey,
I'm
free
telling
man's
you right
not worried
now,
about
there's-
that."
You don't know.
You're telling me
ordinance or
shit.
statute
You didn't
required.
answer the question. You're avoiding the
You
question.
don't. No, you are avoiding even looking.
I'm not
up
avoiding
whether
shit.
there's an
I asked
ordinance
you
or
a
statute
question. You
required
can't answer it, so you're
requiring
full
you
of
to show ID.
bluster. You're
You
full
are
of bluster.
stupid.
How long is it before you rage quit, bro?
You are stupid.
How long? How long?
Bro, this is the stupidity right here. This is the
This is,
stupidity.
you're calling
The
me
person who's
stupid
telling
now.
me that he was
I
required
love
to
it.
show ID doesn't know the ordinance or statute that requires him to show ID.
Yeah, because the rest of us aren't paranoid. I know it. I know it from my state.
It's not
You were the one
paranoid,
giving
it's
out
knowing the fucking
information
law.
about
Learn the
Tucson.
goddamn
when it
law.
didn't
You're
happen.
literally going to sit there and say that
You
you're
were
required,
literally
but there is no
talking
law.
about
Or at
Tucson
least
when
you
you
don't
didn't
if
know
there's
it.
a
I
law.
pulled up
You
your
don't know
One
the law.
at a time. One at a time.
You don't know if there's a law.
Maybe
It's
I can
that
help
simple.
Santa out here just a little bit. In that
If
same
it's the
vein,
law, I'll accept it.
Clay.
But
I
you
asked a
don't know.
question. I asked a question. You changed the subject to whether or
It's
not
not a-
I was an
it's
idiot
not a change
because
of
I don't
subject. What
know
are you
20
talking
years
about?
ago.
It's not a change of subject. It's very simple. You are stupid, sir.
I asked you how that took away any of my Fourth Amendment rights when I've already
You don't
registered,
know.
served in
You
the
don't
military,
even
and
know.
bought a house. They knew
You
right
don't
where I
even
was.
know. You don't even know.
But you're clearly showing
what
you're
city?
ignorant
What
for
city?
not
What
knowing what military
what
regis-
city?
See,
What
you just talk
municipality?
right
What
over me.
county?
Go
I'll
ahead.
look it up for you. Since you are so fucking lazy, I will do it for you. What municipality? What county? What state?
I could say the same when you gave advice for
See, this
what
is a
Tucson
fucking
laws
retard
were,
right
and you were
I'm
incorrect. The
asking you.
deputy
I'll look
doesn't
it up
have
for
to
you. I'll look
envision,
it up.
apprehend,
I
or
have no
otherwise.
problem looking it up,
question.
Santa. You won't
Hold
look
on.
it up.
Mercy,
I know.
boys.
Wait, hold on. I'll go
Mercy.
I'll go
One at a time.
I'm gonna get my whip out.
Don't control
Don't
your
make me get my
puppy.
whip
Come on.
out.
Nova Star.
Clay,
I'm gonna get my
Nova
whip out.
Star. Did you come up with a different subject yet?
No.
Yeah, let's just avoid it. Ad hominem attacks when somebody
you don't have
disagrees
to avoid
with
it.
your
Look
dogma,
it up,
bro.
dude. Or tell me
I
what
know you offered to
municipality.
look it up.
You're
Of what
scared to
value
tell me
is
what
that?
hold on,
municipality.
Sam. Maybe I
You're
can help you out
afraid.
here.
You know that
In
you're
that
wrong.
same vein.
Stop
You
being a
knew the
retard. Tell me what
municipality in
municipality.
Tucson, and you didn't look that up.
Okay, Tucson. I'm gonna look this up for you, Santa.
No,
right, hold on.
when you were given advice about what a First Amendment or Fourth Amendment auditor should do, you gave out bad information for that municipality. So apparently you don't care either, or you're too lazy. Which argument against me would you like to accept?
In that same vein, you know
my
what you
God.
need to go into a voter poll booth, right? So couldn't you just make the fucking decision to not vote and keep your information to yourself?
Yeah, when I did that, the same people were all arguing about how I was a loser for not voting because it's pointless to do that, and except for local elections.
Yeah, I know. I hate that shit too, Santa.
I know it's the argument both ways. Whatever suits whatever somebody's feels are. Now,
Yeah.
Clay and I like each other, but you don't get to call me names because I did something you didn't, or that I didn't do something you think you would.
If
I
you're
didn't-
ready to go a registration vote booth, you're already consenting to giving out that information to begin with.
Exactly. I want to know how that was misused and it took away my Fourth Amendment when I already surrendered it. Just like a criminal surrenders their right to freedom when they do something they know is against the law.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that, Santa.
Okay.
So if you
So where's
if
the
you've
argument?
already given out your consent and you can make the choice to not go vote and keep and retain your information unto yourself,
Sure.
you're already giving out the consent to that information because that's what they're asking. It's just like going to Walmart and buying a product, right? You go to Walmart, you scan your credit card, the machine takes your information, it says you can walk the fuck out of here with whatever you want now. It's the same concept. So you're already giving out that info. You're already consenting to that information being given out.
Sure. And that was 20 years ago, Clay. Go ahead and look through the archives of what it was 20 years ago, and that would be Mesa, Arizona, if you like. But they already knew that because when I purchased a house, all the paperwork had my address. That's how they knew which polling and voting place for me to go to. I wasn't trying to live as a gray man. I didn't tell you I was living as a gray man. So you want to live as a gray man, cool, but you don't get to push that on everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Chat GPT it. Go for it. I'm just telling you, I don't know what
shit
it
up.
was
I don't
20
just
years
guess
ago.
at it. Yeah, I look shit up. I don't just guess at it, rant man.
Yeah, just like you did for Tucson when you said the deputy had to observe the infraction or the misdemeanor to charge it, which is not what the law is.
That is the
And in
law.
fact,
That is the
Okay.
law. What are you talking about? We
I
literally
know
looked at
you-
that, retard.
You look
Holy
stuff
shit.
up. Oh, and I'm the
Holy shit, what a
retard.
retard. You're just
Go
gonna-
ahead and look it up, Clay. Look it up on
Yell at
here
me.
so we can watch your
You're
little
just a
face
retard.
melt.
Look, you just
Look
came
it
up here
up.
so that
I
you could try to
did.
yell at me,
I
bro. This is
posted it.
literally all you came up here for.
No,
You do
it isn't.
You do it every fucking time.
Now
bro.
you know what I'm thinking.
Bro, it's
I
great.
love this.
Hey, how many times can you say Clay?
I will
know
bet
you
you
love
$100
I know you love
with
me.
Spin
Hey,
as the person
guess
that
what?
that's the law,
Guess
the
what?
prevailing
Santa,
law
I
where
love
that
you too,
guy
bro.
was arrested.
I love you too.
Hold on, guys. We have money on the
Okay,
on the screen.
$500.
Hold on, money on the screen.
Yeah,
seen you.
$500 is a lot.
I seen you round for a long time. I really remember when you drank my wine. Why can't we be friends 4 times?
Why
It's a
can't
good
we
song.
be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Gentlemen,
we be friends?
$500 is serious money. You can clip it. Go look at the
The fuck are you
prevailing
talking
law.
about? Money?
I'm talking
Shut the
about
fuck up with that
Tucson where you
retarded
were
ass shit.
shouting off
you know
that the
that's called
deputy needed.
illegal gambling, retard.
And now you're just talking
That's
over again. I'm
illegal.
giving a precise
You're talking
example of
about
where you go
illegal
off half
gambling
baked,
right now.
and then you just talk over people.
You've
See, I
been
started
talking the whole
talking
fucking time, dude. You just ranted for like 10 minutes. Shut the fuck up.
$500.
You're literally
Spin, do you
I know
understand
that
what
I got
I'm
a big
asking
dick,
for?
But you can't see it, okay? Shut the fuck up.
I'm a big prick.
All these
Hold on,
claims,
hold on,
claims
Clay.
everywhere.
What the fuck?
Clay.
Just up
$500.
your- yeah, Shut the fuck up.
500.
Okay, Santa. Hold on. Money. $500 is a lot of money. Okay, Santa. Oh, Santa. will you please clarify what you're saying to me?
What I'm saying is I've got $500 against our buddy.
Okay.
Who's averring and swearing on the nobility of researching stuff and knowing what the laws are in a particular jurisdiction and how I'm supposed to know it from 20 years ago. He mocks me for not knowing it 20 years ago. My counterclaim is, with the arrest in Tucson, he specified, and I will paraphrase, I may not be able to quote, that the deputy had to observe the unlawful activity in order to arrest. That is not the boundary. That is not the district's finding. That's not the law in that area.
Okay.
Now,
so let's get the terms straight.
Sure.
Let's get the terms straight. If he can prove you wrong, I get $500.
Well, it has to be shown. I'm not equivocating. I'm just saying proof is the actual codes and laws and definitions by the same. These are all in the state.
Okay.
And they're in the county that says that an identified witness can provide a statement which provides reasonable, articulable suspicion and probable cause in the state of Arizona and where they were. That's why he could be arrested right then. The officers or deputies do not have to observe that behavior.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm betting. I'm saying, don't tell me to do something that you were unwilling to do yourself when you opined. The officers have to see that behavior. They don't have to in that area. Period.
Okay. So this is what we'll do. We'll pin that. Clay can do his research or whatever he's doing. Okay?
Sure.
And if he proves you wrong,
and what would be the qualification? I said on the districts, right? There's the district, and then you got the county, then you got the state.
And then you have the federal, correct? After
No,
the state.
the federal doesn't even apply. The arrest authority could go up to the state.
Okay. All right. So this is what we'll do. If you lose, you know how to do what you need to do.
Yeah. What's he going to do?
I don't know. That's between y'all.
No.
Now wait.
No.
Wait.
When I was a boy making a bet, when I've been a man making a bet, I'm okay with you being in the middle of it. One of us can hand you $5 and you win either way. But I'm talking cash, not love.
Okay. All right. Now, this is the deal. Well, let me think about it. But if he proves you wrong, the money goes to Mr. Balderson.
Okay.
The money goes to Mr.
I'm
Balderson.
shirtless because I was not on the panel before.
Now I got his attention. I got Ben's attention now. So now let him do his research. We're gonna do this amicably. Clay.
Yes, sir.
Amicably. Okay? I know it's going to be hard. It's okay. Yes, you can do that in your head, behind the camera, behind the screen. So I'm going to bring everybody back up. Clay, you have as much time as you need to prove him wrong or concede.
So I'm innocent until proven guilty, right? Just like the jurisprudence of our wonderful country.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Man, I love you, man.
No, Santa, you are innocent until proven innocent. How's that?
Well, that sounds more like how it actually happens. I don't want them to show my boobs. I got the chat already telling me I'm shirtless here. Uh-oh. I'm not trying to compete with Nova Star.
80% donate.
Oh, great. She's gorgeous, and I'm dog chow. Thank you.
You are not dog chow, sir. Don't say
There was
that.
a reason I was only an icon. I'm not an exhibitionist.
Puppy chow.
I am a
But
little bit.
I do think that facial expressions are important, and I did want to provide that courtesy to Clay. Because when people are disagreeing, sometimes facial expressions are important. My motivation is known why I came on the panel tonight. Feel free to ask Spin at your leisure. I guarantee it wasn't to argue about Tucson or anything else for that matter.
I didn't bring up Tucson.
I know, I did. When you told me how I should know what the voting requirements were and what the state requirements were 20 years ago. And then you told me I had to know them and research them. So I'm saying, hey, here's from a week or two ago. Practice what you preach, brother. I do like what you have to bring to the table.
Thank you, sir.
I really do. Yeah, and everybody can make fun of my weight. I'm not really too sensitive about it.
No, then
You
you
know?
just said that I
I
wouldn't
know
agree.
why I'm overweight. You don't. You want to ask? I'll tell you. But it's not from eating cookies. It was actually cereal while I was sitting there staring off into space watching cartoons because all the pain medicines made me a Schwartz for 10 years.
So, Mr. Santa,
Yeah.
Mr. Santa, maybe this will calm you down. Maybe not.
Say hey, Santa Claus here, and listen up, folks, because do I have something spectacular for you today. If you've been walking around with a testicle on your neck, and you know who you are, there is finally a solution. You need Mr. Balderson's Mega Blaster. That's right, the Mega Blaster. This incredible device works like absolute magic. Now, how much would you pay for something this amazing? Don't even guess, because you can get Mr. Balderson's Mega Blaster for just 4 easy payments of $29.95. But wait, if you order today, and I mean today, we're going to throw in the spinning wheelchair seal absolutely free. That's right, free. Call right now. Don't wait. Mr. Balderson's Mega Blaster. Get yours today. Ho, ho, ho!
Somebody's showing off their
Exceptional. Now I'll put my shirt on, chat. So we're ready to be serious now. But Spin, did I come on the panel tonight for the reasons aforely mentioned by Mr. Clay?
Yeah, when you sent me that DM over in Discord, you said that I see Clay's on the panel and I really want to piss him off.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I guess we'll see you on the panel then.
It'll be like this. But as you mentioned before, Ben, why does your tool cost less than the liberal salty tears?
Yeah, that's what my question was. How come I mean this thing that they're talking about with mine, the blaster, that sounds like a large potent tool, but Clay's fucking salty tears, he gets like 30 more bucks over it after that. Like, why is my thing so cheap? What the fuck?
It must be an age thing. Now, see, right now I'm in a fine mood.
On North Polar.
Just don't blow smoke up in the air and call it macaroni or however those weird little state things go. There you go.
Hey.
Oh man, I missed Balder.
You got something against Yankee Doodle?
Oh my God. What is
That
that?
was what I was trying to remember.
I got these terrible balls on my chin. Can you help me out, Balderson?
That's a Balchinian.
You need 2 master blasters.
That's a Balchinian Nova Star.
We have scissors for that.
I actually knew who that was.
What's up, El Perro?
What's up, Pero?
How you doing, man? Perfect timing. Loved it.
Yeah. We're just being peaceful up here, brother. How are you?
Playing poker in the background, beating the shit out of them.
Well, I'm playing poker too with $500. Did you hear?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I wonder if I should be helpful and friendly and put the Arizona statute that I'm referring to in the chat. Now, don't take it bad. We already made the bet, so there's nothing but fun and games from now because we're going to do this amicably. That's what Spin made us swear to. I believe there's a copy for it if you'd like to refer to it. Amicably means we'll
Sir,
be friendly.
Even though I'm right, and you have the innate ability to filibuster, to try to state that something happened that didn't happen.
I think you can just call it
Clay,
filibuster.
I know you ain't complaining about someone filibustering.
I don't gamble ever.
Oh,
it's just not something I do. So you won't find a single place on any one of these panels, anywhere in public, anywhere in private, where you'll see gambling.
How do you like
maybe
your
the
name?
penny slots when I went out to Vegas. I literally
I called it a bet. I didn't whip away from that.
I don't
gamble.
But even though I'm right, I will tell you I don't gamble. Like
we'll call it a charitable donation. Would you feel better about that?
No.
Because I'm just asking you to put your money where your mouth was. I'll accept bragging rights if I post it in the chat and everybody can read it for
pressure
themselves.
is dog shit.
How about
My peer, I know it's called integrity. It hurts sometimes.
It's not integrity. It's dog shit.
So when I show in the chat that you're ridiculous about what you were saying about Tucson, what do you do then?
Why
you going to do?
If you need dog shit, I'm sure Benjamin Balderson can scrounge him up for you.
If you want to pay Ben, that's fine.
If you want to waddle away from your word that you already
Ben,
gave,
you're in charge.
money to Ben. Look, dude, I haven't talked, bro. You literally just filibustering. You literally have been talking for the past 30 minutes now.
No, you've been talking mostly for the last.
What? What a fucking retard. Holy shit.
I know.
You
I'm a
wanna talk
retard.
about amicable? Okay.
You made a bet and you backed out of it. Now the fields. Now
because
the
you're a
coping.
retard. Maybe you're just crazy. Maybe you're
I
not
know,
retarded.
but you like to
Maybe
check
you're
out
just
all
crazy.
the laws where you are.
Maybe you're
before you open
legitimately
your
crazy,
pothole.
right? You know, they
Yeah,
have.
maybe I am. I've been called a lot of things, but you're basing your identity on checking these things. Protect me for not knowing the voter registration.
Why are you talking to me? Why don't you talk to somebody else, dude?
Because you're wrong.
Am I the only person on this fucking panel now? Holy
But
shit.
the only person who said to me I was an idiot for not knowing
Hi,
it, I asked you.
Santa. Hi, Santa. How you doing there,
I
bud? Bye,
asked
Santa.
you-
You're a
right.
retard. Bye, Santa.
I asked you how
You're
my
being a
Fourth
fucking
Amendment
retard.
rights were
All right, man.
violated.
Thank you. Thank you,
I
Spin.
asked you how
didn't
my
do the
Fourth
retard.
Amendment rights
Bye.
were violated.
This is retarded.
Murphy,
This
you
guy's
must be
literally
enjoying
just
talking to you
retardedly yelling
because
at
you
me
provoked
for
him.
nothing.
Answer
Because
it.
he's a retard. He's a fucking
Because you
retard.
can't answer it.
Either he's a
'Cause you're wrong
retard or
again.
he's crazy. But I can't do the
Oh,
retard
okay.
of the motherfucker who just sits there and goes, Clay, you're wrong. Clay, you're wrong. Clay, you're wrong. Dude, I'm not going to do that. Why the fuck are you even here?
Well,
Why are you here?
I was
You want
asked.
to talk about voter ID?
I did.
Do you have any other topic?
Are you having the authority now
Bye,
to
Santa.
suspend me from
Bye,
the
Santa.
council?
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, retard.
I know. Rage quit.
Fucking retard. Do you have anything else to say? Then
Name
Clay,
call.
you're wrong.
Clay,
Do you
shut the
have
fuck
anything?
up, dude.
Anything?
Nova.
There's like
up.
40 fucking
Nova,
people
do
in
you
the
have
chat.
do you have a
and
new
on the panel,
subject yet,
okay?
Nova?
I had
Jesus
to.
Christ.
I could suggest. Spittle helped me with this one. Change the subject to fake food
Please
products.
suggest it, Nova.
Fake food
Please
products. They are
suggest
having
it.
issues with it being imported via China, mainly China. You got it. Come on, Donald Trump. Say China for me.
China.
They got rice with plastics, noodles
That
from
sounded
San and
more
Norwegian.
pervy
Yeah.
than fucking Donald Trump.
It did a little bit. It did.
Yeah, tasty stuff.
Because in their culture, they have a saying: if you can cheat, cheat.
Metals, shrimp with MAGA metals and chemicals. Yeah, wow, that's pretty bad. So if you guys want to take a look, see at that, let me know.
Repeat your prompt.
Here, I'm gonna post it in the back.
Fake foods, not just
Coming imported from China, full of metals, plastics, all kinds of crap is in there. Here, I'll put it in the back right here.
The food that we're importing from China is full of metals and
yeah, it's fake food. Fake food
other
products.
other good things.
Mm-hmm.
I would not buy anything from mainland China.
So did I win the bet yet?
I'm getting you the citations. Because as we know,
Crouch just gave a dono. Read this. Put it up. Or I'm going to read it. You
No,
want me to read it?
Spin. You can't use Joe Cool on me like that. That's rude.
Kraut Mick comes in with the Big Ten and says, I'm married, I guess happily. So don't take this the wrong way. But for now on, if Nova got her puppies out, then Santa goes on with no shirt. Oh my God.
I would have to wear a bikini top.
I'm for public humiliation for a good cause.
I vote for that. Oh.
It's a bikini top or it's TOS. Boys, come on.
Yeah, no TOS, no TOS. Settle down now.
Aria's laughing.
You know,
Moon, get your butt up here.
I just like men to back shit up. That's all. Sorry.
You do seem to particularly have a hard on for Clay in the recent past.
Damn.
Sure.
David
Maybe
says
it's the
let's
collection of times that I might have been called a retard and I don't know what I'm doing. So before I formed my opinion about Tucson, even after living in Tucson and understanding something of the statutes there, I knew it was wrong, so I went and looked it up. So, yeah. Do I get a hard-on for being called stupid and ignorant and whatever else for not knowing a statute from 20 years ago? Okay. Doesn't really bother me. I just get tired when we put out information that's easy to verify.
I'm just stating when he accuses you of coming on the panel with a purpose, I can't necessarily say that he doesn't seem to have at least some accuracy saying that you're coming on the panel with a hard on for him.
Okay.
It's not quite as innocent as what you're making it out. Like, yes, you might not have came to argue that specific subject, but you're definitely kind of looking for Clay to make a misstep so you can jump on it.
So I would sit back without my shirt on, chilling out, and then what happens, Spin?
You get a hard on.
No, tell me what happened. So please share our confident communication about why I came on.
Because you had a hard on for Clay and you wanted, and I needed some more lefty stuff.
No, you asked me to come on, and I did
ask him to come on. Yes, I just said it.
And I only held the conversation to Real ID. And then I gave what I did, and I was jumped.
Well,
I gave what I did, and then I was jumped. I asked you what the Fourth Amendment did I surrender, and I think it was Toasty or For the Win who accurately said, once I've registered, I've already surrendered that information. And you said, what was the state law? I said, it doesn't matter. I already surrendered it.
So me answering your question is you getting jumped now? Is that how that works? A question that you asked, by the way.
Why don't you play back the tape because you started calling me names? Is that how you answer questions to other people?
Sometimes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Santa, I've known Clay a while.
Sure.
Sometimes those retarded things come out of his mouth. and he calls people retards.
Do I seem particularly offended?
Not really.
I'm not much offended at all.
Well,
at least you can tell. At least you can tell Mrs. Claus that the downstairs equipment still works.
And it does. And it does.
For 500 cookies.
You know, the elf really does not need to hear that the junk in the trunk works. Okay.
That's a strange reply, dear.
Oh my goodness, what just happened? What is
Get him, Elf. Get him. Get him, Elf.
Now, so, okay. Well, we'll just make allotments. So I'm not a part of this community then, right? I'm not feeling tears. Okay, this is logic. We have to change the conversation because we don't want to have the argument. Okay, that's cool.
Well, we're changing the conversation because in the last week we've had a real fucking streak of, and you've both been involved in it a couple times, of fucking spurging out and then ending the fucking show. And as my fucking show and Spin show, we would rather that not happen again this fucking week. So if that's cool with you, I'm gonna try and move on to another fucking subject. Is that cool?
Yeah, well, what's cool with me is I was involved in one of them.
Again, like I just pointed out. So I would like to avoid another one.
Okay.
So let's
I just
pick
presented the law. I presented the law in there. The chat people can do what they will. But a lot of the spurging coming from both directions are all, and I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm respecting what you're saying.
I agree, Howard. Once again, I don't know what's in the air, whether fucking Mars is in retrograde with fucking Gatorade and it's Uranus. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But people are real
man periods.
Lots of man periods. Lots of man periods.
Listen. Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you.
And pick a fucking subject.
The subject is we're doing the FDA one, right?
Right.
All right, let's do the FDA one. I'm fine with that. Are you okay with that, everybody? Santa, are you okay with it?
Not even about it. It's your channel. I respect your channel.
Clay, are you good?
I linked to an article in the back.
Balchinian.
If anyone wants to grab it.
Okay, seems like everybody's good.
Wow.
Go ahead, Nova. You can read some of that article.
Okay.
And we will change the topic. Santa, take your nose spray.
Some nose candy? What? I didn't say that. Did I say that?
I'm chill.
That's that when
I'm styling and profiling.
Hey, Balchinian, I think you need to take a drink.
Oh shit!
All right, you ready for me to read?
That's some hard stuff, guys.
Hey, the next $10 super chat to Mr. Balderson, Balchinian has to take a drink.
A shot every time. $10 donos. He gets a.
Oh no, he can only do one.
Yeah, I gotta stick to my principles.
Yes. So the next $10 super chat over on the Benjamin Balderson channel, the Balchinian has to take a drink.
Now you want somebody that doesn't have principles? Go get Caucasian Sasquatch. He's up for it.
Okay,
He's got principles. Just not having a lot of drinks is not one of them.
All right, there you go.
Miss Nova Star, please
I was waiting for you to prompt me, sir.
You have been
All
prompted,
right.
stomped, and voted for.
$100 dono to me, and I'll put on a bikini top. Okay. Economically motivated alteration, EMA, occurs when someone intentionally leaves out, takes out, or substitutes a valuable ingredient or part of a food. EMA also occurs when someone adds a substance to a food to make it appear better or a greater value. For example, when manufacturers add a cheaper vegetable oil to an expensive one, they call it blending. You have to pay attention to your labels now, kids. A lot of attention. They are cheating the customers. We refer to this type of EMA as a food fraud. Okay, so we're talking about food frauds, and it's happening all over the place. It's a common type of EMA that the FDA deals with, but EMA also occurs with other products, including animal food and cosmetics. Some types of EMA are also misbranding violations. Estimating how frequently food fraud occurs is exact. Who's doing that? Who's rubbing the mic? Stop it.
Somebody's typing.
So not me. I thought someone was rubbing their mic. I thought they were masturbating their mic
What
off. I don't
kind
know.
of a
All right.
keyboard you got that your typing sounds like that?
Okay, hold on. Money on the table, Mr. Balchinian. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the alphabet. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? No, we will not be singing. Mr. Balchinian, you need to take your drink, sir.
You're on. Bottoms up. Ooh, whiskey.
No.
Shine.
Oh, damn.
You're muted, Balchinian.
Homemade shine.
Damn.
Just that tip right there already got him tipsy.
Woo! Damn.
Yes, sir. That's a champ right there. And I see
Yeah.
why it's only one.
The next $20, the next $20, he gets to finish the bottle.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't want to call the paramedics, do we?
No,
Like,
yeah.
maybe we shouldn't be doing that.
Fucking a shine, jeez.
Make
Dear
Hey.
Lord.
blind again.
Are you fucking complaining, Balderson? Shut up. I'm helping you out here.
Does that violate?
Not by trying to kill Pero.
Well, that doesn't violate. That doesn't violate TOS, right?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nova. Money,
No,
when
you're
money's on the
fine.
table, I become a whore. So go ahead.
I do the same thing when I ever get it. Okay. Estimating how frequently food
I
fraud
have
occurs
no
is exact.
comment for that either.
Shush you. Economic impact can be hard because food fraud is designed to avoid detection. Outside estimates by experts have found that food fraud affects about 1% of the global food industry at a cost of about $10 to $15 billion per year. Although some more recent experts' estimates put the cost as high as $40 billion a year. EMA isn't just an economic issue, though. Depending on what is added, substituted, or left out, food fraud can lead to health issues, a lot of health issues, some major and even death. Some examples include lead poisoning from adulterated spices. There's a lot of lead in our spices now these days, by the way. Allergic reactions to hidden substituted ingredients that contain even just one food allergen, like examples of food fraud: honey, maple syrup, olive oil, all seafood. I only buy wild seafood, and only wild juice, spices, infant formula, pine nuts, and then you guys can jump in. Thank you, God, Moon, she's here. Yay! Girl power.
Nova Star, fucking.
Yes.
She only eats seafood after she puts on her mermaid outfit and jumps in the ocean and goes.
That's
out
right.
and
They call me Ariel now here.
Yeah.
So mhm.
Yeah.
Don't make me sing the song.
I coined that Ariel. Okay.
You
I
did?
coined
It was you?
It was me. I called
Oh.
you Ariel.
Oh, okay. Well, it's working because the crowd has been saying, "Oh, look, it's the Little Mermaid again."
We just call Mooney Mooney.
Mooney's cute though. She's giggling.
Hi, Mooney.
Hi.
If we put you two in a room together, we would be all the danglers would be kicked out. That's all I'm saying.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, Moon.
I'll just leave my camera in the room. How's that?
What's up, Andy?
Love you both. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
So go ahead and kick it off, Moon. What do you think about adulterated food made to be more visually appealing, but not necessarily nutritionally fucking what you would want it to be?
I personally think that it's completely barbaric and stupid. You know, you see like these commercials, especially going around that, you know,
I feel like
shows
barbarians don't eat McDonald's.
Probably
you see
not.
these farmers holding up like peppers and tomatoes, and you know they're not cosmetically pleasing because they have a mark from the vine, or they're slightly discolored. I would rather eat that than a pepper that looks perfect and it looks lab grown.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's almost displeasing to the eye because it's not natural.
And we have money on the table over on pill.net. Drunk Pinata sends in the can. Thank you very much, Drunk Pinata. Much appreciated.
Let's get
support.
Ben to spurg off on this one. Ben, isn't the normal conventional seeds already GMO'd?
Depending, that is horribly annoying. Depending on especially the bitch thing. Fucking depending on what kind of food we're talking about, the GMO in some of them has taken over more heavily than in others. What you find more in your like vegetables and things like that, rather than a GMO, what we have is extreme selectiveness. So like you take tomatoes, there's certain tomatoes that produce heavily and they're very commercially viable, and so you don't don't see anything else. Where like currently out in my garden, I have pink tie-dye tomatoes, I have pineapple tomatoes, I have black beauty tomatoes, I have purple cherry tomatoes, red, yellow, fucking cherry tomatoes. You know, I've got atomic grape tomatoes. Like, so while these aren't necessarily commercially viable, they're much more nutritionally dense, especially if you're doing it in a live soil. And you're going to get more what they call a heritage breed involved in that. Where you get GMOs heavily is in the grains. Pretty much all grains have been GMO'd to fuck. Wheat, especially, it started out with wheat and corn. And actually, it wasn't Monsanto that started it. Everybody thinks it's Monsanto, but it was a company called DeKalb. And DeKalb went around and basically before those GMO seeds, what would happen is you would have to hire a team of guys to go in, and every quarter of land, which is 40 acres, you'd spend half a day to a day going and weeding that thing and then moving over to the next one. Where with these DeKalb seeds, you could have one farmer, he could hop in his sprayer, drive down the field in half an hour and go hit the next field. And because those seeds would survive the glyphosate and nothing else would, he was able to do the job that it was taking him 8 guys to do before that, and you weren't even getting a quarter of the work done. So everything we're talking about in this is commercial viability, and commercial viability does not mean nutritionally dense or healthy.
Hey Ben, take a look at the back chat real quick.
And a lot of your states are going to have what's known as seed farms, where you can find all these seeds for all the different plants, herbs, spices, stuff.
Yeah,
like
you want heritage seeds is what you're looking for, and understand that there's so many things that taste better, and the GMOs, just like Nova was talking about, they're doing a lot of play with words. Like Toasty was sending a video earlier, and they were trying to deny the modified chickens. And absolutely, there's chickens that inside 6 months, they're the biggest chickens on your fucking farm. And then within 6 months later, they're dead. And you are what you eat. We used to know that. That used to be like a thing they would play on commercials when we were kids. And when everything you stick in your body is processed non-food garbage, that's not nutritionally dense. I have 8 grandkids and I'm over 50 and I still run around fucking off-grid farming. Like, I'm pretty wicked healthy. And I eat at home food. I grow as much of my food as I can as possible. Christy, all those tomatoes and stuff, and we grow peppers and all these other things. And then Christy makes it into different sauces and we can that up for the year. The grocery store is only selling you commercially viable food for the most part.
True.
When's the last time you got an orange with a seed in it?
So
I don't think I've ever had an orange with a seed in Peril.
Of course, that's also all still different than what Nova's original point is, where they're taking and like injecting meat in order to make it stay that nice pink color and doing things like that. So this meat that would have looked pretty rotten by the time you got around to buying it, because it's still visually appealing, people buy that shit up. And it's absolutely amazing how garbage the food that people are eating these days. And it's all because of visual appeal. People are stuck on visual appeal. In the markets that I deal in for my work and shit, it's absolutely insane how much. And we all know this. Anybody that's worked in retail or anything else, you can take a killer product and put it in a shitty packaging, and you can take a shitty product and put it in killer packaging, and that shitty product will sell out all the time, and almost nobody will buy that other product, and they'll rave about it. They'll be like, this product's so much better, you know, and the bottle's just ugly, and people like, I don't like ugly bottle.
Yeah. Like good products that you put on your skin, but if it doesn't smell good, it doesn't smell as good as it should, so I don't want to put this on. I had to deal with that all the time when I worked in a beauty supply store. It drove me out of my mind.
Dude, Christy makes her own salve. We make a bunch of health products, and Christy makes salves. So we try to get as all natural as we can. And at one point, it was the cocoa butter, and we found a source that was giving us the raw, not adulterated at all cocoa butter, but it had like a yellowish tinge to it. Was it the Shea? Anyways, the other version was completely white. We got nothing but complaints about the more natural version because it gave it a yellowish tinge, and people were like, oh, I don't like that.
People are so weird. Do you know what chemical that they use to make the meat stay more red and pink? I think it's an ammonia base, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah. And the shrimp in, like, say, Indonesia and other places are grown in the gutters. So everybody, you're getting farmed, guess where it's coming from? And it's grown in gutters, and they use bleach.
Not that there's actually a brand of hot dogs that does it. That they're red. And when you cook them in water, that red dye bleeds out to where it makes the water red.
Ew.
And it's disgusting.
Lips and assholes. That's what John Candy said.
Anybody
remember that movie, The Great
over
Outdoors?
there?
Or chopped up peppers.
You okay, Ben?
Man, I don't eat meat at all. And if I ate meat, that would so never be it. Blech. Hot dogs are so nasty.
Well,
they are. I don't eat those.
If you notice, when you go to the grocery store and you get a package of chicken, and you cook that chicken, that breast size shrinks way down because they inject it with so much water. But if you go to an actual farm and unalive the chicken yourself, process the chicken yourself, and cook the chicken yourself, you're not nearly losing the amount of weight that you are in the grocery store.
True.
Yeah, this all just brings up to all your food that you can possibly get should be locally sourced. Know your source, your meat. And the fact is, you get cheaper, better quality meat if you go. You can find farmers that you can buy meat out of, or you can get into little cooperatives where you split a cow, because most people can't get a cow. So like sometimes you split like a quarter cow with 4 people, and fucking This is the future, because the fact is we're seeing the breakdown of the fucking our supply chains. And so the answer to the fixing the breakdown is quit surviving off long distance supply chains. Start eating local food, enabling these local people to bring you up and fucking bring them up. So when there's a problem, it doesn't affect you. This is how people got through the Great Depression. Like, everybody was broke. They don't talk about this, but in the early 1900s, 90% of American food that Americans ate was grown on their own land. What the fuck did we do? We gave all of our fucking food, the most primary thing, all of our responsibilities to that, we gave to somebody else. And it was cool for a little while. They were given good products and shelf stable good products, and then it got to be money, and these became the bigger ones became corporations, and everything became about the buck. And now it's nothing but preservatives in your food, and if your food is even food at all.
It's not food.
It's not. The outside edges of the grocery store is the only place that any food exists. Them center aisles, they're garbage.
You know, I'm not allowed to have conventional wheat anymore because of that double spike protein on it, Ben.
Yeah. Well, the original, so the wheat's been fucked with the most. So the original wheat, like if you get an ancient grain like an einkorn, I'm sure that you can eat that just fine.
That's what I'm eating now. Yeah.
Yeah. But the first wheats were altered in order to give them that heavier gluten. And it's not the gluten people have problems with so much, but it is part of it because it's not natural for it to have that much gluten. But the gluten, if people don't know, is the part of it that makes the dough stretchy and stick together and
fluffy and rise.
And fluffy and all that.
Yeah.
That's the gluten.
Finally, somebody tells me what fucking gluten is.
Yeah, it's the glue.
I would have
It's
told
the
you if you
glue.
asked me.
Well,
protein
when you're looking at the seed in and of itself, you've got the hard outside. When you crack the hard outside, there's like a white pasty stuff in there. And then inside of that, in the very center, is what they call the germ. And that is the actual life. And so what that gluten is the food for the germ. And so what this is doing is just making it a heavier, stickier gluten. And that's been altered for years just for ease of making pastries and baking products and things like that. But then they further GMO'd it in order to make it so it was tolerant to glyphosate. And that's when you now really, and that happened back in the early 90s. So now we're seeing the byproducts of that, the generational problems that are developed. You see a lot of young kids. Christy, one of her sons, could not have any wheat or anything like that because of it.
You know, when I had my accident, I became what's that? I couldn't eat gluten.
Yeah.
What's that shit called, Nova? I forget.
Celiac.
Celiac.
Celiac,
disease.
yeah.
Yeah, celiac. And then all of a sudden I tried a regular burger bun with a burger on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine after that. The other thing was milk or dairy.
Yeah.
And when I went to the doctor, here's the ironic part. They had me on more medication than you would have in a fucking grocery store, right? They took me off a lot of them. And I think it was, I can't swear to it, but I think it was a lot of the medication that I was on.
Fucking up your system.
Probably was, yeah. Couldn't digest shit on all that stuff.
Oh,
See, and the problem, and see, milk is another trick that most people don't know. The milk that everybody's having trouble digesting Actually, most people aren't lactose intolerant. Most people are A1 protein intolerant. And so what you have, again, this is the commercialization. Commercial cows are like your Holsteins, and Holsteins put out like 8 gallons of milking, which is fucking insane.
Wow.
Now my milk cows put out like 1.5 gallons of milking, but they give out A2 milk. And A2, the A2, if you have an A2 protein, that's basically what people kept as a yard cow through historically. So we're very suited to having that in our system. Now the A1 cow, nobody's fucking trying to run around milking a 2,000 pound cow. Like those things are so hard to deal with. But you know, in today's industrial society, you can deal with them. That's still very dangerous. If you look it up, a lot of dairy farmers are killed by their cows every year.
What?
Yeah, that's a pretty dangerous.
Yep.
Well, again, when you're dealing with a 2,000 plus pound cow, as opposed to my cows weigh like 600 pounds. I mean, yeah, they're stronger than me, but I can push them around. They aren't gonna fucking hurt me too bad usually. Where a 2,000 pound cow, you might as well be getting hit by a car. But again, they produce eight gallons. My cows produce 1.5 gallons. So when you're looking at commercial viability, the Holstein milk is much more commercially viable, but it's also not nutritionally available for a lot of people because of the A1 protein instead of the A2 protein. And then furthermore, in order to keep your milk, because people don't want to deal with locals, they have to pasteurize their milk, because if you didn't pasteurize your milk, then by the time it got to the store, because here's the deal, raw milk takes about 4 days to start getting funky and tangy, because it's got the pieces in it that start breaking the milk down. It's alive. It's got all the bacteria and stuff to break it down, which if you drink it that way, it's much easier on your digestive system, but it also is not going to take and be shelf stable. So 4 days, well, if I milk my cows, the guy who comes around and picks up the milk only comes twice a week. So you got a 3-day and a 4-day run where your milk's sitting in a fucking tank. Then they take it right to the plant. By the time it gets to the plant, if you were doing it raw, you would still have to bottle it, then distribute it to the trucks, which would distribute it to the fucking stores. And then it would sit on the store shelf for a couple days, and you would take it home. And by all this point in time, you've got some cheese going on. And so instead, they pasteurize it, kill all the bacteria that's starting to eat at the milk at this point in time. And now it's shelf stable for weeks, but not very good for you.
You know, I make my own fermented mayo.
Nice.
I make all kinds of stuff, honestly.
Just a small point. There are ethnicities where they did not basically didn't have cows. For example, Polynesians.
Yeah.
Parts of Asia where they didn't domesticate cattle like that. Like they had domesticated cattle, but a lot of them weren't milking them. They were just using them for a workforce, like tilling fields and stuff, or meat. And in those cultures, like they don't have that adaptation to continue to process milk after infancy. So
and
for them,
this is what I'm talking about with the A1. We were adapted to the A2, but not adapted to the A1, because back in the day, those of us that did keep cows kept these little 600 pound cows, not 2,000 pound cows, because who wants a 2,000 pound cow roaming around in your yard?
Not me.
No, my beautiful Lola, she's this pretty little red 600 pound cow that's like, just going along, having a good time, only mildly destructive. And then I have bulls running around. Fucking who wants a 3,000 pound or 2,500 pound bull fucking tearing you up?
We actually have a neighbor of my father-in-law's that has his cows in his front yard.
Yep.
Free mowing right there.
Yep.
But cows can easily kill you. They're ornery, and when they're, especially when they're being corralled into milking, they get so fussy.
Yep.
They can step on you and you're done. They can ram their head into you and shove you into a cattle gate and you're done.
Dude, my neighbor, he one kicked because they don't know exactly what's behind him all the time, and it kicked him right in the hand, shattered his whole fucking hand, just bam.
Same thing with horses. They do the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to ride those also. No jokes. No jokes. They'll bite you. They'll kick you if you don't see you. Oh yeah. All right, guys,
That's what
start
he said.
finding another subject. You're
That's
slowing
what
down.
he said.
I know, right?
Or she.
But yeah, at this point, and the reason that this is always kind of a flat subject is because then also nobody really wants to change the way they eat. People
That's
like
true.
people like throwing in things in the microwave. People like the 5-minute meals.
That's
People
true.
like the full belly. And the fact is they make those foods. They have chemically engineered them to have a taste that natural foods do not. And you become dependent on it. Plus,
I don't need to eat a whole lot of that stuff though. I make most of my stuff from scratch, or as much.
That's what I do
or at least
too.
just from scratch as I can manage. I obviously I'm not grinding my own wheat.
Yeah, I don't own a microwave. I got rid of it.
Grind your own
I don't
weed?
either. Wheat.
Yeah.
I would love to grow my own weed, but not.
I actually do grind my own. We have our fucking mill, and we have 4 different kinds of wheat, including ancient grains. That's why I know like einkorn and shit like that, because we have those grains.
If I ever get back to beer brewing, I might just start doing my own grain grinding, because it'll make sense at that point to have the equipment for it.
Dude, when I get back on track and we're making money again, fucking, because we just went through just a giant collapse over here, and
That's what I
things are
heard.
just, oh dude, horrible. Like all the fucking shops downtown in every city is just dead. Like it's so bad over here, and it's starting to look up now. But fucking, when we get some more money, I want to get Christy the double lot. There's a grinder, fucking so nice grinder. It's a layman's, and it's a double lot, which means that it grinds the grain down to fine enough powder to make things like fucking phyllo dough and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about, before you change the subject, what do you think the difference is for everybody who doesn't know? I know, other people probably don't, between grass-fed and then commercially grown beef animals.
Are you want me to not
Yes.
call in on this, or you want
Yeah,
me
no,
to-
I want you to. No, I want you to.
Yeah, most the commercially grown animals are typically going to be fed
Grain.
you're gonna have grains, alfalfa, and silage are your 3 primary nutrients, and each one's going to be horribly nitrogen heavy, which is part of why they're so methane heavy. On your grass fed, it doesn't do that, but it also bulks them up way faster. You'll see a lot of farmers now will let them do grazing, and then at the end they'll do grain finishing, and in order to bulk them up at the end. But your best quality cow by far is your grass-fed cow. So if it's going to have that real good marbled fat, what you need to do is buy the type of meat that gets that marbled fat, and that's not usually commercially available. That's not the ones most people get. But like if you look like at a Wagyu or a Belted Galloway or a Dexter, these naturally off of grass, actually off of fucking like scrubs and everything, and grass fed, these cows have a natural marbling to them. But the heritage cows like that take between 2.5 to 3 years to get up to weight for slaughter.
Correct.
And your other cows, you can start pushing them in at a year and a half. They're going to make weight.
But
And
as far as what about nutritional wise? Like I know grass fed has far greater omega-3 versus just omega-6s, which omega-6 in people's diet, like say vegetable oil, that's what kills your arteries and kills your ass. So
yeah,
yeah. So all the cholesterol issues gets redistributed to you what you eat, because you are what you eat.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because even in their manure, so when you get part of the reason that most people think of cow manure as hot is because they're getting fed in alfalfa, which you can smell the nitrogen in alfalfa.
Oh, really?
And oh yeah, you can smell it. Alfalfa's rough smelling, and then seed grains, you're getting this super heavy nitrogen load in it. Where if you're just getting it grass fed, and forage fed, their manure will break down within months, and it'll be bioavailable for plants. And it's one of those very interesting things is where you start seeing things become not bioavailable, and how much that coordinates with how much it's not bioavailable for a human either.
Well, there we go. Stick to grass fed.
I have a strange
Buy from
question,
local
Ben.
farmers.
Yeah.
So we use manure for like plants and such, like you just said.
Yep.
But like when you have those problems, generally you have E. coli. How come the plants don't get E. coli or some shit or anything like that? Why don't we have those problems?
Well, plants don't have their own stomach biome. And so then when you're looking at for plants, the dirt in and of itself becomes the biome. So they don't necessarily get E. coli, but there's beneficial and then predatory microbes. And there's a few other different things. I don't want to get into the fucking soil biology of it. But there's some other things you got to watch out for that will end up taking over the area. And honestly, this is where you start learning about balance when you really get into this like soil biology and stuff, because actually you do want some of those predatory microbes around because it cleans off the roots and stuff and keeps them so they don't get plaqued up. But you don't want them to start overtaking an area and becoming abundant. So you kind of want to keep this interesting little balance in it. But the answer to that is just because the plant in and of itself doesn't have an internal stomach. It's got the microbes in the soil break down the nutrients and make it bioavailable for the plant. So the soil is actually your stomach of the plant in and of itself. And with that, this is part of why living soil is your best for your nutrient density. Because then when you're keeping them microbes alive, they become more very similar to like in sourdough bread or in wineries or whatever. It's the complexity of the mother, and that's a fungi, which is actually what's a lot of what's in there when we're talking about your soil microbes. What you have is a bacteria and a fungi, and you have to actually keep a ratio of that. And actually, if you have healthy soil, the bacteria to fungi ratio is what's setting the pH of your soil. And you actually don't need to use like pH ups and downs and shit. What it has is when your soil is off by pH, is because your bacteria to fungal ratio isn't quite right. But when you start having living soil and you're not going and tearing up the biome by tilling every year, and you're doing things to maintain the integrity of that biome, it becomes more complex, similar to like a sourdough or something. And this starts bringing out extra flavors in your food and also extra nutrients in your food. And it's absolutely amazing, but this takes a lot of manual labor. And then you go to the fucking farmer's market and you want extra money for your products because you put in all this extra work and you make the teas and you do all these other things, and people look at you like, yeah, I can go down to the grocery store and get that for cheaper. Well, then do it, motherfucker. That's because that shit at the grocery store ain't even food. Go fucking do it then, fuckwad.
Hey, Ben, you ever done any beer bread? Anybody?
Any what?
Beer bread.
My mom
Beer
used
bread?
to.
Beer?
Oh, absolutely.
Beer bread,
When I got to Germany, we ordered pizza, and she made fucking homemade beer pizza, and we asked for pepperoni, and I don't know if they were fucking with us or if that actually translated in, but she's like, "Oh yeah." And she fucking puts jalapenos inside that thing, and it was all covered in cheese, and we all bit into it, and they were fresh jalapenos too. And fucking, oh my god, we still finished it, but that was so delicious. It was all homemade with their own beer batter and everything. It was fucking great.
Yeah, the best. I love it.
Then I am growing Carolina Reapers and Scotch British.
Nice. I got Reapers and Scorpions and Cayennes. I got a shit ton of Cayennes because I use that a lot.
Yeah, just ask Mrs. Balderson about that. She'll tell you all the fuck about it.
We were on panel and Christy was getting the Cayennes and the Reapers, or the Reapers and the fucking Ghosts, and she didn't put on fucking gloves. And she had just gotten her teeth pulled that week, her upper teeth pulled. And so her gums weren't closed up, and she's sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, the air is hot, and spicy. You're like, why is it my eyes watering? What the fuck? And Christy in the meantime not only had it all over her hands and touched herself, she touched her gums and got fucking fresh Reaper and fucking on her open wound gum. Yeah. That was a rough night.
Did you play any Blue Oyster Cult?
Shit lava, folks.
No, we did not play any Blue Oyster Cult. When I turn off the panel and turn off the generator, there is no power at my house.
Have you ever? I've heard of like people playing music for their plants, and like they get more growth and stuff out of them, and using copper to get extra growth out of them. Have you ever done anything like that before?
The electroculture thing. What I have a problem with in today's society, they make everything so kitschy, just fucking cheap and garbagey. So if you really look into electroculture, what it gets into is different voltages doing things from stimulating plants to repelling different insects and things like that. And that actually is an absolute, complete science. They went through and fucking, you can find the different voltages that do the different things. So when they were putting the copper in the ground, if you find with the original experiments for this, you'll see that they were running that shit way above, like they had a church steeple, and this thing was way taller than that. They were making towers, and what they were doing is taking advantage of, there's a differential between the ground and upper atmosphere that you can draw voltage from. And
just like plumbing and pressure and water. The higher pressure, same with voltage.
And so you can then, and what these people are doing is just making like little copper coils and shit and putting it in the ground. Now, copper draws hydrogen. So it's definitely this part of why, like, they talk about wanting to use copper tools in your garden and shit. So, I mean, it's probably not hurting anything, but is it doing all of what they're talking about with electroculture? No, they aren't doing. This is similar to like those aragonite cubes that fucking people sell, and they talk about it being off of Wilhelm Reich's research. Well, Wilhelm Reich's research was an orgone accumulator, and it included 7 layers of organic and then inorganic material that were specifically interlocked. And this was doing things with the different energies. These little things are just little trinkets you put on your fucking desk and shit. It's not like the original science. They just tag the name on it. That's how I feel about the electroculture too. It's not like the original science. They aren't making 100-foot tower to do it.
I did see like a friend. She bought, I think she had like 10 copper rods, and she put it in her plot. And there was like a whole community garden. Everyone had a 10 by 10 plot. When I was there, like it was like probably like 2.5-3 months into the grow season, her garden was significantly larger than everybody else's garden there. So I don't know if it was that or what, but like I think there is something to it. So.
It's hard to say because that's not really a very good scientific method to it. It's saying at the very least that she's a good fucking gardener, but we don't know what everybody else is doing to their plants and soil. If she's doing things like that, it sounds like she probably likes taking around in her garden and really taking care of her plants, and good for her. And she's probably a fantastic gardener, but if she really wanted to do the test, she would take 2 raised beds, make one batch of soil that she distributed to both beds evenly, and then every time made sure she did the exact same thing, that the 2 were under the same sunlight conditions, and that she fed exactly, watered exactly, the whole 9. The only difference was one bed had these coils and the other bed did not. And if she showed a difference, and I had some friends that did it, and they didn't really, they did inside their personal gardens, they didn't really see too much of a difference. I've seen videos of people on YouTube saying they got a pretty substantial difference. It was an interesting, probably 2 years ago, the electroculture community really kind of popped up. But like I said, if the primary deal on it is you're trying to find voltage and either stimulate or repel pests, and you'd need enough to get that voltage. Or again, your copper draws hydrogen. Hydrogen's great in the water or in the ground. It's good stuff.
Well, and I was going to say, a lot of times you'll find that when you get those results, it's not just one thing. It's many things that they're instituting in their growing patterns. So they're using natural fertilizers. They're doing it in specific places in their garden, using specific neighboring plants, things like that. They're using multiple tactics, and that's why they have those results. Again, it's the knowledge base and being able to use all those different tools.
Yeah.
Well, it was in her case, like there was probably like 20, 25 plots. Everyone had a 10 by 10. And in her section on the corner, she lined the whole garden with little miniature American flags. So I don't know if the plants were more patriotic in a sense, and that's why they were bigger too. I don't know.
They say that that's, if you ever look at the Masaru experiments, pictures and things like that have effect on seedlings and on fucking seeds and on water and on things like that. So that's very interesting what you're saying right now.
Spin, I have to go here in a second.
Oh, okay. If you want, do your
my outro.
Final thoughts, and I think we're all going to get out of here.
Okay.
Very directly after that, Ben. What do you think? We've been 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so Miss Nova Star,
Yes,
Nova
sir.
Star, your final thoughts on the panel, ma'am.
Final thoughts on the panel is Mars
Yeah,
is being
thank you.
retrograde because all the gentlemen are at each other's throats. I have pads for everyone. If anyone need one, I love you all. Come see me tomorrow at School of Thought, THOT. I will be doing an episode on more conspiracy theories of who the new Jack the Ripper might be of Hollywood. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Oh, good, Nova. Me and Toasty will be there. We have some more reflecting stuff for you on the pool.
Holy fuck. Mooney, your final thoughts.
The
on
reflecting poos.
My final thoughts are eat the ugly looking vegetables because they're natural. They're actually taste good. Continue the chaos and don't be a moron.
Awesome. Mr. Clay. Oh, Mr. Clay. Your final thoughts, sir.
What fun. Oh, what fun this was tonight. Thanks,
Oh,
guys.
what fun it is to ride in a one. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, speaking of picking on Santa, for my closing, I would just like to address the statute that he provided. There are exceptions for certain misdemeanors. And being as we were talking about a specific subject that day, public nuisance is not one of those exceptions. Those exceptions fall under the categories of domestic violence, traffic accidents, DUIs, criminal trespass and assault, shoplifting, and theft. Those are the exceptions in that particular statute. Now, if you actually go to the part 1 of that statute, or no, part 2, excuse me, it says a misdemeanor has been committed in the officer's presence and probable cause to believe the person to be arrested has committed the offense. So there are certain misdemeanors that, yes, you can commit outside of the officer's presence. However, those are the exceptions. We were talking about public nuisance that day. Public nuisance is not one of those. And particularly for public nuisance or those other types of things, there's a long form complaint, and particularly that incident, the neighbor would have had to fill out the complaint. The officer would have actually had to take that complaint form to the county attorney's office to get a summons. And then on top of that, stacking the charges, right? The charge actually would have had to be valid in the first place, the original charge. So yes, there are these exceptions, but the exception is not at all what we were talking about. And I really enjoyed the second topic there. You guys talking about the food, the problems that we're having with the stuff coming from overseas, even stuff being done here in the United States. People are adding all sorts of bullshit. There's one particular
bullshit
short that comes through my feed all the time. Black Coot Farmer or something like that. The guy's got a massive amount of chickens, and he's always debunking a whole bunch of bullshit, which is really funny to watch. It's really funny to watch. I forget I think that's the name, Black Coot something. Black Coot Farmer or something like that. Hilarious guy. And I really enjoyed that conversation. And I just I wanted to hold back because I wanted you guys to have that conversation. At some point, I just kind of have to sit back and let people be people. They can be wrong all day, but if I don't allow them to be wrong, then we'll never know. So I appreciate Santa. I do. I'm glad that he comes up and challenges. I also need to be challenged just like him. It's fair. It's fair. And I do get things wrong too.
You cost me $500, motherfucker.
No. If he wants to pay you for me being right, he can pay you. Actually, he would be paying Ben, right? But the fact of the matter is the subject matter that we were discussing that day had to do with a particular misdemeanor, the nuisance statute, which has to be seen in the officer's presence. So, Santa, I'm not a gambling man. I'm not going to take your money. I will be right on this, but I'm not going to take your money. Thank you.
No, but I sure as fuck will. Mr. Balchinian, the Balchinian, your final thoughts, sir.
Man, Ben, you got to get a hold of me in private. I gotta take care of these fucking balls on my chin, man. Help me out, brother.
Mr. Hard Talk Toasty, sir.
Oh God, Spin, I hate it when you give me these grips because then I have to put my balls in the fryer, and that leads to a lot of GMOs being put out. You know, you guys should come and see us tomorrow at School of Thought. I think I will be going up with her to talk about mysterious conspiracy theories, and I will be officially launching my Let's Send Toasty to Texas dono grift, and we will collect all this money and we will go meet everybody who's going to be at the debate con in July. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Mr. God's favorite aunt, your final thoughts on the panel, sir.
Astrology is fake and gay.
And the moon isn't real. And the moon isn't real. Mr. For the win.
The moon's very real.
Is there gold on the moon?
I would argue that astrology is not fake and gay. Just ant, as usual. Voter ID, yeah, we're going to get it. I don't think we're going to ever see the Save America Act by Congress. I still think that's a trump card that needs to be played here yet. But 2020 definitely was stolen, and it was done for very good reason, and it was allowed to be stolen. And, you know, we're going to see the results of all that here shortly. So that's all I got.
Awesome. And we're going to play this video. We're going to come back. Then we will say goodnight and play the outro.
America Rising Media. Live from Washington, D.C., Spin City is on the ground at the National Mall, broadcasting the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Join us July 3rd and July 4th for fireworks, freedom, and the greatest celebration this nation has ever seen. 250 years of liberty. Don't miss a single moment. America Rising Media. Live coverage of America's birthday.
Good night, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. We will be over on the Raging Tomato channel. At least some of us, anyway. The Balchinian, who knows where he'll be? I know where Ben will be. I know where I'll be. Good night, America. We'll see you tomorrow.
Spin City. Spin City on the screen, got the room on 10. Breaking news, panel smoke, then he does it again. The bass in the morning, debauchery at night. He steps in loud and he don't back right. Clip it, post it, watch the chat explode. One more take, then he takes the road. He talks that talk with a grin and a stare. The other side's talking, he already there. Hold up, here he comes. Hands in the air, let the verdict come. No more hush, no more shade. Spin City live and the whole place sways. Spin City, Spin City. He don't play it safe. Spin City, Spin City. Bringing fire to the face. MAGA on the mic, and he says what he means. Spin City, Spin City. Shaking up the scene. Spin City. Panels in a circle, everybody wants a turn. He leans in hard, let the hot takes burn. Protest on the ticker, riot in the thread. He talks over the chaos with a raised up head. Yell a little louder, make the point land clean. Cut through the noise like a headline machine. If they come for the room, he comes right back. One more clash and the whole beat snaps. Hold up, here he comes. Hands in the air, let the verdict come. No more hush, no more shade. Spin City live and the whole place sways. Spin City, Spin City. He don't play it safe. Spin City, Spin City. Bringing fire to the face. MAGA on the mic, and he says what he means. Spin City, Spin City. Shaking up the scene. When the mics get hot and the comments fly, he laughs at the noise and he calls it